저희 조에 저그가 오는 걸 싫어해가지고 다른 조로 보내는데 원저그 정도는 괜찮다는 생각을 가지고는 있어요.
처음이어서 좀 떨리긴 하는데 흥미롭습니다. A조에 들어가지 않을까 싶어요.
고개를 좀 끄덕이고 계시는데 긍정의 의미일까요?
네, 뽑을 거예요.
아 그런가요?
그냥 받아들입니까? 아니면 뭔가 좀 딜이라도 해볼 수 있는 게 있어요?
저는 마음에 듭니다. 시드권자를 보았을 때 저쪽 조는 가고 싶지가 않더라고요.
야! 바로 뽑습니까?
근데 이번에 처음에 올라오셨는데 뭐 방송 분량 드려야 되나요?
다른 변수가 없습니다.
그렇죠.
네.
유승근 선수는 바로 찍었어요.
그 24강에서 윤중이 형을 떨어뜨려가지고 그리고 윤한이 형이랑 복수를 하려고요.
이야!
한전이다 보니 성적에 스크래치를 내면 어떨까
이야!
그런 마인드입니다.
이제 그룹 A조의 그 큰 그림이 남아있는 상황인데
혹시 A조에 오고 싶은 선수
A조에?
있으신가?
웬만하면 저는 A조 갈 것 같아가지고 그냥 미리 뽑고 같이 상의를 하면 어떨까. 혹시 토스 뽑을 계획은 없나요?
토스!
뚜까 맞아가지고
아이고.
뽑기는 좀 부담스럽네요.
프로토스 제외 예약자 테란
황병영으로 무난하게 예약대로
네.
갈 것인가?
김명 오! 조일장이에요? 우선 먼저 데려오자.
예, 황병영.
B조에 안 간 게 좀 좋고요. 만족스러워요, 저는.
자, A그룹이에요. 한 명 좀 뽑아야 됩니다.
토스는 항상 대회에서 너무 힘들어가지고 저그를 픽해도 된다고 하는데 믿어야 될지 말아야 될지.
저는 이미 만족스럽거든요.
지금도?
제 권한을 그냥 어디 다른 데 놀아볼까
우와!
생각하고 있습니다.
A그룹 안 바꾼다.
어디로 바뀔지를 모르겠어가지고 만약 바뀐다면 그냥 안 뽑히는 게 좋을 수도 있을 것 같아요.
제가 상대하기 제일 수월할 거예요. 저번에 제가 실제로 24강에서 떨어진 적이 있거든요.
근데 명훈이 형 저렇게 얘기하니까 뭔가 보내버리고 싶네.
우와!
일장이랑 저그 대 저그 결승할 때 마지막까지 빌드 조언해주면서 도움을 줬는데
과거입니다.
최종 선택 A그룹의 마지막 선수는요.
조일장.
진짜 조일장이야.
종족을 좀 맞추는 게 연습하기도 좋고 그래서 저그를 생각했는데 명훈이 형이 오면 진짜 보낼 것 같아가지고.
제가 좀 좋아하는 그런 조는 아닌 것 같아요.
자, 이렇게 해서 A그룹과 D그룹까지 지명이 완료가 지금 된 상황인데요. 우승자의 권한만 있습니다.
제 조가 마음에 들어서 바꿀 생각 없고요.
오.
원하는 사람 있으면 바꿔줄 의향은 있어요.
야, 의향 있대요.
거짓말 아니죠? 여기다가 마음에 안 드는 저거 하나 도제욱 김명훈을 딱 바꿔서
저그 한 명이 오거나 제가 저그랑 바뀌거나 하는 게 D조가 재밌어요.
근데 딱히 뭐 와닿는 게 없어가지고 저희 조를 안 바꾸려고 그랬는데 갑자기 좀 바꾸고 싶네요.
이야, 조일장을 보냅니까?
마이크.
제가 먼저 좀 물어보기도 했어요. 나랑 바꾸는 건 어떻냐.
제가 그 자리에 3테란이고 연습하기도 편하고 지난 시즌은 아니었나요? 김민철 선수한테 떨어졌던 게?
제 생각대로 가겠습니다.
우승자의 권한 최종 선택. 자, 조일장을
조일장을
보내요.
떼고.
자, 어디로 와?
진짜로?
와, 뭐야?
승리.
기포에서
무지명식 하면서 카타르시스가 느껴지는 적은 처음인 것 같아요.
한 종족만 연습하는 게 유리하겠다 싶어서요.
이재호의 마지막 멘트가 가슴을 울렸던 거 맞아요.
정윤종 선수랑 결승에서 우승할 때 A조로 갔었거든요. 운 좋게 왔는데 좋은 결과 얻어보도록 하겠습니다.
Hello and welcome to the opening day of the round of 16 of ASL Season 19, done in partnership with Hot 6. Stronger, more robust, clean energy. The round of 16 bracket was assembled last week during the group selection ceremony, and you're now waiting for the opening day for Group A of the round of 16, featuring Soulkey, who, as the first player in history, aims to score 4 championship runs in a row alongside 3 Terrans. Let's meet our players. Hello, good to have you here. First up, the seeded player of Group A, it's Soulkey. Hi. Hi. Having seized the opportunity for 3 back-to-back championships last season, you said, I will win the next one too. Today you're taking the first step towards that goal. Are you feeling in shape? I'm in good shape. I had a good time warming up. I should have an easy time advancing through today. Just like last season, you went into the group selection as a seeded player and managed to assemble a group of 3 Terrans. I think you'll be happy with how that went. I originally didn't plan on changing things. I thought about it. The thing is, it would have been a shame not to use my swap privilege. So I did. I do need to apologize to Scan and Barracks because I told them I wouldn't swap, and here I am suddenly bringing light over. I feel sorry. Right, I can feel a hint of resentment towards you, judging by Scan and Barracks' facial expressions. Let's talk to Scan as well. This is going to be your first ever round of 16 appearance. I can see you even got a fresh haircut. What do you say? Does the atmosphere feel different from the round of 24? Very much so. What feels different? The determination of the players, the preparation. If you look at the time we had to prepare, I think they prepared a lot, because, you know, as soon as the group selection ceremony was over, I rushed to find practice partners, but they were all gone. It was a little difficult. Oh, in any case, this is your first ever round of 16. It seems you kind of missed the timing for finding opponents to practice with. Notwithstanding, you set out to put a dent in Soulkey's record. Through this best of one, you revealed such aspirations. Have you put in immense practice for that first match? I prepared diligently. I think you can look forward to a surprise. Expect the unexpected, you say, with a smile on your face. Okay, let's talk to Barracks as well. Hi. Hi. You managed to avoid snow and you came to Group A, but I have a feeling this will not be a group you're particularly happy with. What do you say? Well, I avoided snow, but, you know, I believed in Soulkey. Now we've got light here. But anyway, the two of them, there's 3 Terrans here. I just steeled myself to engage in the TVT the same way. You have this image of a Terran who is constantly on the up and up. If you manage to take down these tough opponents, including Light, you'll be getting one step closer to achieving that round of 4 goal of yours. Are you confident? For starters, I practiced a lot for today, with the aim of simply showing what I practiced. I should be able to play good games. Can't wait to see if you manage to show everything you've prepared. Let's talk to Light. We've not seen you in Group A for quite some time. Hi. Hi. You said yourself that right up to the group selection ceremony you felt, I'm going to Group D, I will end up in Groups either C or D. But in the end, to your own satisfaction, you landed in Group A instead. How do you feel ahead of playing in Group A? All that it is, it's better than being in Group D. I did not come here thinking that I will advance for sure. I have lost to Barracks recently in online tournaments as well, so I am a little anxious. Nonetheless, I prepared a lot, so I want to get a good result. During the group nomination, we had a chance to see a true smile from you, something we don't get to see very often. It was a smile of catharsis, as you put it. To what degree was that smile of assurance present during your practice as you come here? All in all, I was relaxed practicing because we have 3 Terrans. I realized there's a chance for me to advance if I simply do well in TVT alone, so yeah, practice was convenient. I see. We have a lot of storylines between the players in Group A. Let's take a look at them one by one. What we have on our hands is a group where Scan, Barracks, Light, the 3 Terrans, need to punch through the 3-time champion that is Soulkey, who is closing in on a 60% win rate in ZVT in the ASL. This iron wall shines through in that matchup as he does not crumble easily. I'm curious as to what the Terrans think of how this group is structured. Let's ask Scan first. If you were to take down Soulkey, the wall, I want to break through him, yes. You said his win rate is 60%, right? Yes. I'll make it 59%. Oh, you want to lower his win rate? I guess you must have truly prepared a tremendous amount. Are you feeling the danger and incoming crisis, Soulkey? In any case, there's not much data on Scan. so it's a little scary, but if I just play the way I always do, I don't think I'll have any trouble today. Now, this close to 60% win rate actually contains a match between Soulkey and Light from the round of 8 last season. Light took 2 games, but in the end, Soulkey defeated him with loss, win, win, loss, win, win. Light, if you try and revive that memory, if you were to meet in the winners or decider matches today, we have expectations for a great match. What do you think? I've played against Soulkey quite a lot in tournaments, only for me to end up losing a lot. His macro is on point, he does all-ins really well too. It was tough. Today, I honestly did not focus on Soulkey, because even if I lose to him, I can take down the Terrans and advance. That's my mindset. It looks like Light's strategy revolves just around getting to the round of 8, even if it's in second place. Soulkey, it kind of feels like even if you end up running into a Terran as strong as Light, you have a sort of aura of superiority. Light is not an easy opponent by any means, so I came here thinking if something goes wrong and I lose to Light, I can still advance in second place. I think we can advance hand in hand. I wonder if Barracks is as uncomfortable now hearing all of this, and also hearing how much Scan has prepared too. Honestly, Barracks, you've made a great turnaround starting 2 seasons before. I bet you're looking to prevent this scenario where Soulkey and Light advance in first and second place. What do you think? I think it would be nice if Scan managed to beat Soulkey. Right. And I win, I go to the winners match and meet him there. Oh, so the picture you're painting is, hey Scan, let's put Light and Soulkey up against each other in the losers match. Scan, do you think that's possible? A tier 4 insurrection? Yes, let's revolt. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what this holds in store for us. Let's close with final remarks from our players. Soulkey, I'll show a good performance today and advance to the round of 8. Can't wait. Scan, I trained even harder than I did for the round of 24. I'll repay everyone with a great performance. Good. Barracks, I too prepared well, and I'll try to show that today. Good. And finally, Light, a word? I'll do my best today and get a good result. Can't wait. Looking forward to great games from all of you. Thanks for the interview. You're waiting for the start of the opening day of the round of 16 of ASL Season 19, done in partnership with Hot6, stronger, more robust, clean energy. Let's kick things off and see who survives to fight in the extended series of the round of 8.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the ASL. We're finally in the round of 16, and my God, that week off felt so long.
Yeah, because it was more than a whole week when you really add up the days, but it definitely was tasteless. I'm so glad to be back. We're into kind of the long days of the tournament, and we're starting off with what is historically generally the easiest group because the champion kind of gets to pick most of it. But still a very tough one when you look at it on paper.
Yeah, we've got a lineup of just incredible Terrans. You know, if this was any other year, like any other season in the last, 3 or 4 that we've had, I would say it's a tough one to call who's going to get out. Soulkey's been on an absolute killing spree. He is looking untouchable, and we don't know when this is going to end. It could be yet another season where he manages to take it. And, to be honest, ZVT, he does seem to make it look very easy. He seems to be able to punish and get away with more than any other Zerg player I've ever seen really in the matchup.
He's by far the best at ZVT in the world. And it didn't surprise me at all that he made an all-Terran group. This was exactly what I was expecting from him. The scan first pick makes perfect sense. And to just to swap out at the end Hero for Light. If people haven't seen it, we have the whole group selection translated on the channel as well, so you might want to check that out. Really funny, fun stuff. But yeah, Soulkey has really made a group custom tailored to get out of.
And we've got Group B coming up tomorrow. That's going to be Sharp, Speed, Jaedong, and Best. Group C and Group D are also going to be very exciting. We're going to have the majority of our Protoss players playing it out there. But for the first week, it's going to be a lot of Terrans, man. Yep. We are getting a lot of Terran action here in week 1.
Yeah, these groups are insane. Like, look at Group D, man. Group D is madness, and Group C is madness as well. Like, I would probably put Group D as the group of death. Like, literally, Russian, Hero, and Mini are always top 8, and Snow is someone we think should win a championship. How the hell does a group like that get made? That is so insane.
Look, I mean, Group D could have easily been any Final Four in any ASL for years and years.
Yeah.
That's going to be an insane group. You don't want to miss out on it. I'm really glad that we're going to be ending the round of 16 with a splash. But for today, no Protosses. 3 Terrans and a Zerg. Again, Soulkey, the most likely favorite, should easily advance. If he doesn't advance today, it is the biggest upset in the round of 16.
I find it impossible to imagine him not advancing. This is really a custom-made group. You know, he chose the least experienced player in Scan, and he, you know, obviously swapped Hero at the end for Light to just keep it full Terran. And the thing is, these are the right Terran players for him, too. He is the ultimate SK Terran killer, and these guys all kind of specialize in that. If there was someone he would be dodging that's playing in this, it would be like Speed, for instance, who's much more likely to do highly technical openers. So I think here, if you're one of these Terran players and you're playing Soulkey, you have 2 options to try to take him down. First option, 2 Barracks in the center of the map, BBS. Second option, highly technical opener, like Vulture Drop or 2-port Wraith, something like that, where the game can get out of control immediately for Soulkey. Because if you try to go to a macro game, we saw what happened to Light last season when he did that. Soulkey ripped him apart.
Yeah, and, you know, with the 3 Terran lineup that we have here, I feel like these are easier Terrans for him than Royal and Rush. I think Royal and Rush
100%.
in some ways might have a better edge coming into this in the way they approach the matchup, in the way that they are willing to occasionally take very sophisticated risks early on.
Yes, 100%.
Let's also keep in mind that Soulkey has, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's probably cheesed or done weird 7 pulls, stuff like that in this matchup more than any other Zerg, which is shocking because, you know, with the exception of maybe like 8-15 players of that caliber, you would not expect a basically #1 rank ASL player to be the guy who's gotten away with that. But it kind of makes sense. We've had a lot of very greedy openers on the rise here for Terrans. You know, with Nexus on 12 being so popular, and a lot of Terrans deciding, why don't I just go Command Center first in certain matchups? Soulkey has basically managed to keep his riskiness a major threat here. And it's really made a lot of the Terrans back off and open up in more standard ways. And look, the odds are, I don't know, maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 games, Soulkey might do the rush, but it's intimidating enough that a lot of these Terrans won't risk it.
That build will give him a free win against any, like, Barracks in the center of the map and against, you know, like a Command Center first, like you said. So, yeah, it's great for him to mix those in. It makes it really hard to pull the trigger on these builds, but I think that's what you need to do. If I'm coaching Scan here, I'm like, make 2 Barracks in the center of the map and pray that he goes hatch first. That's going to be, I think, the best way to do it, but let's see, man. Let's see what Scan has planned. I hope it's fancy.
We're getting ready now to go into our first game here as we start the round of 16. The 3-time ASL champion coming here to win it again. But for now, Scan stands in his way. Let's go. Okay, we've got Scan here in the top right, Soulkey in the bottom right. Real quick, guys, we're so glad to be back and casting ASL after that 10-day break. Consider signing up for the Patreon. It's patreon.com/ASL English. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. It's been so fun, and the future is so bright for StarCraft 1. I think we're going to have 2 seasons of ASL every year for, you know, indefinitely. I don't see why they'd stop, basically. So we really appreciate your support.
I think it's going to go on pretty much forever. Like the show is so popular. There's so much support for StarCraft 1. It's really in a beautiful place. There's no question about it. And like I think some people miss the Kespa days. I'll tell you who doesn't miss the Kespa days. These pro gamers will watch and play. Okay, like they are so happy to be able to live like normal lives and still compete at the highest level. So it's a great time, and thank you everyone very much. And check out that Patreon if you'd like to support. And big thanks to everyone who has.
So going into this game, Scan is probably one of the greenest players that we have here in the round of 16. Great to see all the foreigners here showing up, by the way. This is in the Samsung studio, by the way. I think I mentioned this before, but I get a lot of people DMing me on Twitter or X or whatever we call it now, and they switch between the two studios. We never know which one they're going to use. Sometimes another company for another esport title requests one of the studios and pays Soup to use it. But this is the one at Samsung Station. If you get down there, ideally buy a ticket ahead of time so you can make sure you get in. But generally these days don't sell out. It's a pretty spacious studio, so usually people just get in.
Yeah. So I want to mention, because I was saying like you either need to make 2 barracks in the center or you need to do a technical opening. This is a technical opening from Scan. Obviously we can't tell what it's going to be as of yet. But he's gone for the quick gas, and this is basically what you need to do. And this is why you were saying you think Royal would be a good match for Scan. I would agree with you 100%. Like you need to do something that is hard to figure out what it is and has high damage potential against Soulkey, because that's it. That's how you get an edge that can actually bring you somewhere in this game. Now, he's going to finish this wall. Soulkey saw the factory, so that was very important to see. And, of course, he'll get, like, a sunken here to start. But we don't know where Scan is going with this. Like, there's a lot of builds that can come out of this. You can go a 1-1-1. You can go 2 factory. There's actually a 2 factory all-in. There's Vulture Drop. There's 2 Port Wraith. There's 1 Port Wraith into expansion. There are a lot of builds that this could be, so it's hard for Soulkey to narrow that down to exactly how he wants to defend.
Can you explain the 2 factory all-in? Because I know one build that I used to use like way long ago to cheese people out. If I really wanted to disrespect a Zerg with my off race.
Yeah.
What exactly is the 2 factory build you do?
Okay, so there is. Okay, it looks like it's going to be 2 port, but the 2 factory all-in is something Speed came up with about a year ago. I believe he's the originator of it. And it's basically you go 2 factory Speed Vulture, and you go at about 7 Vultures. And the funny thing is, they can have Sunkens, and what you do is you just bring 1 or 2 Marines and 4 SCVs, and you literally kill the Sunkens. The SCVs add enough damage that the Sunkens explode, and you can kill, like, basically every drone right before mutas get out. But if they do, like, a full wall and 2 Sunkens, then it's like a kind of auto loss. It's not a common build, but I've seen Speed do it a few times, and actually I've beaten really high-level players with it occasionally. But
yeah, I had one from a million years ago where I just go Speed Vultures and try to run up their ramp or run behind their minerals. Yeah. And a lot of times they would just be slowed down. I would do some crappy Goliath push after that. They just wouldn't have enough stuff. But anyways, this is a one where he's going to go for double port Wraith. He did see the 1-star port. I like the positioning there of that Spire. I guess it does make me a little nervous if you ever got into a weird game where they could drop you back there, since the Spire plugs up the... Oh, no, I guess it doesn't plug up the whole way around the back of the base, right? They can go through the gas side, huh?
Yeah, I guess there is a way back there. But yeah, looking at the 2-port Wraith build, like this was really popular about 8 months ago. Like everyone was doing a lot of 2-port because, Soulkey had made this matchup pretty hard. And Soulkey, I've seen him do a lot of counters to this. He's the best against 2-port, but he still can die to it for sure. He's actually not doing the counter I thought he would. He had a really cool counter where he went Hydralisk Den and Spire. Yeah, taking a look at this, he's actually just going to run by and kind of suicide onto as many drones as he can. So yeah, and look at that. He already has Burrow up. So that is one really strong way to save drones against a build like this.
Yeah, Burrow a lot of times is going to sound weird, but it really is kind of a panacea against 1-base builds. When you have something coming at you, like it's like 1-base Reaver, or in this case, the 2-star port Wraith, just being able to burrow drones for the price. The Wraiths just don't get a whole lot of value. Now, Scan's going to come down here and take out this Overlord. The issue is going to be, can Scan slow Soulkey down? And by the way, this isn't easy for the Zerg either. It's a real headache because Wraiths can basically be microed the same way that Zerg can micro mutas. Terrans can do that with Wraiths. By the way, I love the burrowed Zergling here at the expansion. That is so hard to deal with for Terran. Considering you don't have a turret there, you don't have scans right away, and you know that you're already giving up your second base really early to try to do this.
Yeah, and just the constant scouting of seeing if there is a unit move out, because there's a lot of follow-ups to this. Some people go one base bio, some people go command center. I've seen some cool ones where you just make like 8 Marines and send them down, and it's like just enough that the Wraiths beat the mutas then. So yeah, hard to say exactly how it would go, but look, this is some very good Wraith usage so far. He's gotten a fair amount of drones. And look, an engineering bay on the way, so he is getting ready to throw down some missile turrets. The thing is, you have to be careful. Like, the mutas will end up beating the Wraiths. He just has to get his Overlord speed up and kind of get across there with the big group of mutas. So Scan knows, of course, that he does need to have some missile turrets ready for that.
Yeah, and once you get in range of the Wraiths, they die so fast. So the issue that you got to be careful for is that both Wraiths and Mutalisks can moving shot. So when the Mutas get the upper hand in the fight, as long as they can keep the moving shot happening, they can just kill all the Wraiths. So there's definitely a point where you have an opportunity to do damage, but then later on you really got to get back to safety with those Wraiths, so you're going to lose everything and basically be impotent in the game.
Now, Scan is setting up a missile turret there in the mineral line, so he's definitely getting ready to expand. He knows that there has to be a broodling there. That would be a huge misplay by Soulkey not to have it. So just kind of blindly makes that. Has his Marines here as well. And, I mean, his defense so far looks very strong, but I like a lot, by the way, that Soulkey threw up a third hatchery in his main base. This kind of reminds me of how you know, Zerg players started to counteract some of Bisu's heavy Overlord control with his Corsairs back in the day. You know, just getting an extra macro hatchery, making sure that you can replace all of your lost Overlords and drones more easily.
He's also going to be getting a base down at 6 o'clock. The Wraiths, they skirt out for a little bit. It looks like he's going to try to come back. And there's no command center here. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tastosis, did you say there was a command center in the main? Is that making right now?
No, I haven't seen a command center yet, but I think he just started one, but I'm not 100%. Oh, no, never mind.
No.
That was just the Barracks moved, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I had the same thing when I was looking at that. I thought, is that a CC over there? So he's on one base. So the next few minutes are going to be really important because Zerg is going to be so out of range of the Terran punishing him if he doesn't do something. And in fact, he's not going to do anything. The command center is going to finally come down. So, you know, Zerg burrowed most of their drones. Sure, mining time was lost, but the workers weren't really killed off here. And I feel like Scan is going to have a very, very difficult mid-game, if not impossible.
Well, I'm actually... I thought there was a chance he'd throw down an armory. I have seen some players, when the Zerg stays on mutas, go into a few Valkyries with this to try to just eliminate the Air Force very quickly. But we haven't seen that. He did just do a very strong scout with the Wraith. He flew over everything in the main base, so he has a good read on what Soulkey has. Another way that you can play this is just utilizing the Wraiths as really good, like, anti-air. You know, like, if you go into Marine Medic from here and you have, like, a full group of Wraiths with it, the mutas can't really engage. You know, like, if they try to come in, it's kind of like when you have Marines with Goliaths, right? There used to be a Goliath Marine all in, and it's like, okay, you have this great range, but the heavy DPS of, you know, just Wraiths stack perfectly. Okay, that's why Marines are really good. They're small, they fit together, so the DPS just goes up and up for the surface area, and the Wraiths just add right on top of that, so it's like really hard to actually engage.
Well, the Wraiths are going to just dance right outside of range. That cloak doesn't last forever, and so he's going to eventually have to decloak up there. The 4 Raxes are coming down now.
He's got
he's
2
basically
groups.
on the move with, I was about to say, yeah, he's on with 2 different control groups, which I hadn't really noticed. Now, this is the moving shot dilemma I was talking about. If he can get those to connect, remember the glaives are going to bounce onto each of those Wraiths, and the damage is so painful. He comes back in here with the next set of Wraiths, and although I really like the idea of what Scan's doing, it just does not seem to be working out at all. It's being shut down on both ends here by Soulkey.
This definitely could have killed like a lot of Zerg players so far. The fact that Soulkey already had all of his mutas split up, he's playing this so calmly. That's, I think, the big thing that we're seeing here is like he is not phased in the least by this very teched out 2-port Wraith build. And in fact, you know, he got his very fast evolution chamber, so he's going to have a carapace, I think, before Scan has +1, which is huge. And he's already into like Lurker Ling here, so kind of a tough situation for Scan, but he's definitely not down and out yet. You know, Soulkey has more supply, but he's not like in Hive Tech or anything like that. If Scan controls well, he gets his Science Vessel out, you know, he micros his Wraiths well during the battle and everything, his army actually can kill Soulkey's army.
You know, but hold position Lurkers don't seem to be very stoppable, right? I mean, how much gas was spent on Wraiths along with everything else that Terran got? If he were to do a blind push, he would go right into hold position Lurkers. I think that's literally what we're going to have here.
Yes. I think you're right. I think this is going to win the game.
Oh, my God.
Dude.
And it's right as he attacks in.
Oof. Well, at least Scan kind of pulled back, but still, there's so many Mutalisks here. This is very, very bad. Oh, man, Soulkey's so good.
It just becomes so obvious as Soulkey does it that, yeah, the vessel would be delayed if you made that many Wraiths and got Cloak. And, of course, Terran feels an immense amount of pressure to try to push out on the map and do something, and then you can't. Because, you know, hold position Lurkers is literally unbeatable unless you know where it is ahead of time. And how would you know that? So he's going to pull everything. He's leaving the defensive posture entirely. He may even go for a bust right now. I think the first vessel is going to pop in a second here. But it could be too flimsy at the entrance here for Terran. There might just be not enough of anything. Certainly no bunkers here, by the way, as well, which is usually, you know, the thing that can let you hold off against really heavy Zerg aggression like this. So he's going to probably try to run in right now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, here we go.
That is so many units. That is such a big army. And it does look, I feel like I'm watching July Zerg right now. The fact that the greatest macro Zerg like on Earth is making me think of the most aggressive champion ever just shows the range of Soulkey. Like, what a great attack here. What a great setup. And he has dismantled Scan. I think Scan brought a great idea. I think this was a really good plan to try to take down an unbeatable player. But Soulkey shows why he is a 3-time champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea wasn't bad, but I don't know if anybody could pull that specific style off versus Soulkey. He made it look so easy. From burrowing the drones back at home and turtling with the Mutalisks until he had Overlord speed, to burrowing even that one Ling at the Terran's expansion to delay the command center, to the hold position Lurkers from A to Z. Basically a perfect game here from Soulkey.
Yeah. I'm very, very impressed with Soulkey. Like, I'd feel like by now I wouldn't be impressed. I'd just be like, yeah, that's just Soulkey. But, like, he dealt with that so well. Every single thing, he knew every step what to do, executed it perfectly. Scan just couldn't find enough damage, and Soulkey moonwalks into the winner's match.
Yeah, short and straightforward there. Soulkey looking unstoppable in this matchup of only Terrans in this group. Guys, quick break. TVT coming up next. Barracks versus Light.
우주급 텐션, 최고의 토킹, 핫식스 토킹.
Open up for me, yeah. Sorry if it's too much, I just wanna be enough for you, love. You love. It hurts me when you're not here. If it ain't you, it's no one at all. Oh, at all. I just need one more breath. Without you, ain't nothing left. Take my hand, we can dance. And where you are, I'll be there. don't wanna mess it up, just wanna love you better. Take care of the little things, you don't gotta be alone. I wanna leave you less on me, yeah. Sorry if it's too much, I just wanna be enough for you, love. It hurts me when you're not here. If it ain't you, it's no one at all. I just need one more breath without you. Ain't nothing left. Take my hand, we can dance. And where you are, I just need one more breath without you. Ain't nothing left. Take my hand, we can dance.
Welcome back, everybody. Terran versus Terran time now. And I think most of this day is going to be Terran versus Terran, since Soulkey doesn't seem to be someone who can lose in this matchup, that being ZVT. So let's see who's going to go face off against who currently is the best player in the world, the three-time ASL champion. I do think Light is a favorite here, but we could be surprised. What about you, Tastosis?
Yeah. Light is, no matter how much people want to cite like consistency in ASL or stuff like that, every single Terran thinks that Light is the best Terran, other than, of course, Asterisk Flash. But like Light, just his understanding is so high level. It's much higher level than Barracks' understanding of the game, and his mechanics are at least on par. Barracks is very good mechanically, but yeah, Light looks unstoppable in Terran versus Terran, except when he plays against Flash. So I do expect him to win, but it's a best of one, and Barracks is getting a lot better right now. Like, I think Barracks is one of these guys that's going to just randomly top 4 in the next few seasons. We're like, whoa, that was a run.
Yeah, I think you could be right, Tastosis. We've got a lot of up-and-coming Terrans that are looking very, very good. Since Flash left the limelight here, at least for now, we'll see if he comes back. A lot of great Terran players coming up with a lot of interesting ideas. We're going back to the same map as before, Metropolis. This is Barracks versus Light. Okay, Barracks here in the top right. And Light in the top left.
Yeah. So, if it gets to a big macro game, it could be a little bit annoying for Light having the back of his main facing Barracks, but, you can kind of remedy that with a million missile turrets and maybe a few spider mines. This map is kind of weird, TVT. I haven't played it or seen that many TVTs on the map, but the ones I have seen, the ones that I have played, it's like, it's pretty wide open in the center, but there's so much area for dropping that, once you kind of seal up the army movement, and if the map gets somewhat split, drop ships become really powerful. So you kind of have to have some big awareness as to where your opponent is and what he's doing if you get into that later game.
From France, excellent. Well, I've seen everybody's from Romania. I see that in the background. The massive size of the main here does make it very tempting to drop. Not even just in like split map end game, but I think a lot of early game, not early game, maybe mid game ish drops can be very strong. It's hard to really shut that down. But I think this is a pretty interesting map overall here, TVT, while still keeping it somewhat basic.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It's like we definitely can see some funny things. Oh, that's a gas first in Barracks. Okay, so Barracks has a special cheese planned here. He's going to go 2-port Wraith on one base. And that's a build I haven't seen in a long time. Like, when Remastered first came out, people were using this occasionally. But I really haven't seen it much since then. So basically what you do is you get your gas first. And the thing is, it's basically impossible to scout because your factory will start right around the right time, and you just don't know how much gas they have banked up. That's the tricky thing. Zerg actually has a build that's very similar to this, where if you don't scout them first, they have their gas so early that they actually get 200 gas when the pool finishes, and they start speed and layer, so everything looks normal, and then speedlings are out 20 seconds faster than normal. So this is kind of a similar idea.
I don't think we saw builds like this until like around StarCraft Remastered.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't remember ever doing them before that.
Like I think people were aware, like you could go gas first and they wouldn't know, but at least in long history of StarCraft games I've casted, I don't remember seeing it. And I think, at least for me, I saw it first in ZVZ, in the build that Tastosis was talking about a second ago. But there's a lot of very smart ideas with stuff like this, because you can't check if they got their gas earlier, if they don't scout you early. And this is a 4 spawn map too. I mean, they 2 out of 3 times they won't find you right away.
Yeah, and there's actually with hiding how much gas you have, that's kind of a big thing. In StarCraft 2, you can actually click on a geyser and see how much gas has been mined. You can't do that in StarCraft 1. If you click like an assimilator or a refiner and an extractor, it doesn't tell you what's left in there. So it's very hard to scout something like this.
It's a funny thing because I doubt they ever thought about this when they were making the game. There's a couple weird things in the game that like allow you to do strategies like this, and it makes me wonder for like new RTS games that we're going to see in our entire lifetime. Is it always good to be transparent with information for both players, or is it more interesting to keep some hidden? Like with Zerg, you don't know if they're upgrading at the Evo chamber.
Yes.
It doesn't animate, which I think was a mistake. I think they just had to rush the game out.
Yeah,
they probably made Zerg last, and then they just, nobody even noticed that the Evo chamber doesn't pulsate when it's upgrading.
Yeah, nothing for Zerg. Nothing for Zerg
armory,
shows.
The gear spin.
Nothing for Zerg shows. Everything for Terran shows, and half of Protoss shows. So it's like it does feel like Terran was kind of made first, and only Terran has concussive damage. It's like it does feel like the game was kind of rushed at the end, and they didn't quite do the same job on every race.
Yeah, but the result of that is that you have these pretty fascinating situations, like the fact that it's not transparent about how much gas has been mined. It means you can make it very tricky in build orders. There's certain deceptive things that Zergs can do. Also, when a building animates for an upgrade, that's a great way to fake people out, too. You could start an upgrade, and then as they leave, you cancel it. We see this with Dragoon Range all the time in PvP and PvT for interesting builds. So, people spend so much time, and I can't blame them, just talking about these crazy things that are in StarCraft that are so intricate and detailed and fascinating. And, it's important to note that it goes both ways, how it makes it complex. Having it in there or not having it in there both make for some interesting mind games.
So, okay, this is a very important moment. The armory wasn't started before the Wraiths got here. And there are 2 Marines, and in fact, Light honestly is over-microing here. He should just prioritize damage output. Because if your opponent hasn't started the armory, and you even have 1 port Wraith, you end up killing something like 13 SCVs if they don't repair. And obviously you see some repairing here. Light is taking this super seriously. He's putting every SCV onto repair. But the amount of damage Barracks is doing, he is going to be ahead from this. It's just what is the follow-up going to look like?
In a situation like this, you're very beholden on which SCV cycles onto the armory and where does it slide to. You can see he's not repairing. He's instead just lining them up to try to throw each SCV on. It looks like he's going to take out yet another one. The next SCV comes up. The turret's going to finish, but I think he can just slide back a little bit, and he should be out of range. Finally, the armory's done. And once the first Goliath or 2 come out, that's really where it's going to be hard to deal with. At the same time, though, not everything is covered by turrets. We're seeing a little bit of a opening back here in the main, and when you start to get this many Wraiths, it really becomes a problem. The Barracks is going to land. I love that.
Ooh.
Oh, no, but 1 Wraith also flies into the turret.
Yeah, he does definitely have Cloak on the way. Unfortunately, he took some damage. Yeah, okay, he does have Cloak, so that's good. He looks like he wanted to make some Marines here, but Light gonna go ahead and place a Vulture up there, so that's not going to do anything. But yeah, loses one of his Wraiths. A very tricky build order to open up as Barracks now. And now Light needs to really account for Cloaked Wraiths being all over the place.
Yeah, that's right. Barracks really got the jump on him there with those Wraiths coming in like that. Even taking this extra barracks out is annoying. No more scouting here. Can't see has the command center started or not. In fact, he made a he made a second factory there in the main. The command center is very, very close to finishing here. For Barracks here, you just play a defensive game, or is there any other opportunities to try to come in here and be aggro?
Well, you're forcing your opponent here to have enough Goliaths and enough scans the entire time. So you're going to have an advantage as far as vision goes. Your opponent can't really do too much to scout you, and tanks shoot further than they see. The combo of Wraith tank is as old as StarCraft itself, in kind of spotting what's ahead of you and being able to move the tanks forward. I think that he should play, oh, wow. So this is Light trying to really hard counter what's going on. This is Light leaving it up partially to chance, okay? So he's saying, okay, I think you're going to go factory heavy. I'm going to go 2-port Wraith and surprise you with more Wraiths than you have, and that'll give me a huge advantage. And he's definitely right that would do that. But if Barracks goes back into Wraith production or sniffs out what Light is doing, then Light will not be able to catch him as far as the Wraith count. And it might turn into some weird Wraith Valkyrie type of situation. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's very cool to see Light go for this move. I guess he's already aware that he's behind. It's going to be a pretty tough game. Probably not an opportunity arising where he can push in. But, Wraith does beat Wraith if you're not ready for it. Right now he's trying to just do any extra damage he can, but a big accumulation of Wraiths over here for Light could swing this game very, very quickly. Because right now, in Barracks' mind, he's got an SCV lead. He's in a good spot mining from the second base, and because he has that Wraith in his mind lead, and he's forced his opponent to make Goliaths, now he can make Vultures. And Vulture tank, when it's fairly even versus Goliath tank, Vulture tank's a little bit better. Like, you can run up and plant mines. You're generally going to have more tanks because you're spending all your gas on tanks instead of some of it on Goliaths. But if you get blindsided by their Wraiths, you can completely lose your position.
That's what he's really looking to do here. Once he has more Wraiths, he can just overwhelm his opponent's Wraiths and then force the tanks on siege and run in and kind of win the game. So he comes out as soon as he has 4, and he actually already killed a Wraith, but there's a Vulture drop coming. Excuse me, and that Vulture drop has real potential from Barracks to do big damage because Light has his whole army out here.
Yeah, the Vultures are going to come in now, and I mean, there is nothing to defend this. In fact, Light was basically trying to put a lot of pressure over here onto the entrance, and he's still going to go for that. So this could be a pretty explosive situation. I mean, the tanks are scrambling to get back. There's nothing to protect them here from Light's Wraith, so I mean, they're just going to be eating damage. He decides to go and kill that dropship. I believe the Vultures in the main base here of Light have been cleaned up too, so Barracks doesn't have that going for him. But we need to see some anti-air. 2 more Wraiths come in to join the mix, and this could just snowball the damage over here for Barracks. I mean, Wraiths don't do a lot of damage, but even with that many SCVs, you might not be able to save the tanks in time. I think this actually could be GG, Artosis.
Yeah. Light has just out-strategized here. Barracks had a very strong opening. He got a lot of damage with it. He had a very cool air control, and Light just figures out what he needs to do and does it, and this is a win. It's almost impossible to lose from Light's position. Like, even if you didn't attack, suddenly Barracks, how does he ever break this? It's just never going to happen.
He messed it up. He's just out of range. He tried to siege up, have the Goliath in the front tank damage, and then he wanted to clip the tank with his Wraiths, only his tanks weren't quite in range. He backs up instead. I guess it's fine to leave him contained on 2 bases.
The containment itself is so brutal to try to get out of. Like,
yeah.
Okay, your opponent has more Wraiths. Do you go Wraith Valkyrie? Well, what if he makes missile turrets? Do you go dropship? Well, he has Wraiths, so you can't do that. It's like, well, what do you do? And he's going to try to break out, but it's hard to imagine Light not trading so efficiently here.
Okay, nice move out here from Barracks. Really shattering that position. He does get a little bit of an opening to come into 12 o'clock if he needed to. The Wraiths are going to try to snowball damage. Oh, but they can't. They keep the Goliath alive. Barracks does, I should say. A scan, he's going to try to dive in here. Now, low numbers of Wraiths can beat Valkyries. But you got to be careful, because when there's enough Valkyries out, they can wipe out an innumerable amount of Wraiths.
Yeah.
Like, Wraiths just die extremely fast.
They are like paper airplanes, truly. They are the weakest unit in the skies. But, you know,
Yeah.
obviously a lot of tactical advantages they can give here, as we've seen. Now, Barracks trying to break out once again. Honestly, Barracks is doing a good job. I appreciate the fact that he's being super aggressive about removing the contain, because Light was about 3 tanks from the contain being basically invincible. Like, when this happens, you have to move out. You have to try to clear it as quickly as possible.
Okay, he's going to be able to come in here and plant mines in the last few tanks. Another wave is coming up here. There's still one Wraith doing a little bit of damage.
And Light setting up that third base. Barracks can't even think about a third base as of yet. He just has to continually try to break out. He did move him far enough back that he might be able to get that third base. But if he decides to try to turtle a third base right now, Light can kind of reinforce his positions, continue to macro up, and the contain will just get harder to break out of, even though Barracks will bring the economy a little bit closer.
We got to see Barracks get this 12 o'clock spot up and running here. It's been a bit of a back and forth. It'll really come down at 12 o'clock, though. I don't think he should push through here, even though there's not that many tanks. You know, it's very easy to miscalculate in tank versus tank when you try to push up on a high ground, because tanks fire slowly and there's a chance to miss from low ground to high ground. So sometimes even when it's like, you could probably brute force it. I've seen games where just all the tanks miss. You get very unlucky.
You know, I think that Light is going about this in a very smart way. If he just sits in this contain, if he just consistently reinforces this contain, makes sure that he's getting like a few Valkyries and some more Wraiths, and throws down some missile turrets, it becomes this game where it's like, okay, either we try a very inefficient contain break again, or we go like dropship. And, like, you know, those are both, like, if you get... This is how you actually win TVT. Sometimes people just kill each other, but realistically, in a closer game where the players are more evenly matched, it turns into who has the actual map control, who has a technical containment on their opponent, making it harder for them to move around.
Yeah, and right now, Barracks doesn't have a lot of mobility. He's pushed out, but I think Light pretty smartly took a step back and is just making a new line in the sand. It's going to be impossible to get around. Barracks has surged back up with his own set of Wraiths. This is such a funny game. This keeps happening. Both sides keep bluffing that they're no longer making Wraiths. The Valkyrie comes in here for Light, and you can see how punishing those missiles are. Long after you're cloaked, you're still going to eat so much damage as long as they've tracked on to any of the targets in that group. So I think what Barracks has to do, and I don't even know if he can do this, but I think literally the only way is to try to force a breakout right here.
Yeah, you're definitely right. He agrees with you. He's going to try for it, but Light has enough here that he should be able to hold it. You just have to kind of focus the front tanks and let your vultures absorb and clear the other vultures. So it's actually, Barracks did surprisingly well again. Like, he's doing a really good job considering, but it's a losing battle, and you can see that reflected in the supplies. You know, the thing is, in Terran vs. Terran, man, there's nothing more stressful than trying to break a tank contain in a tournament. Because it can go so wrong, like you were talking about before. And look at this. This is going to be the end of the game, I think. As he loses these tanks and Light is taking a 4th base, Barracks has almost nothing left.
Yeah, just when it feels like he's close to doing it, you see another wave of units coming up. And I don't know how many Goliaths are back there, if there still are any. He might be able to just snipe this with the Wraiths protected by the Valkyries he already has. The supplies also really illustrate where this game is. It's about 97 to 113. And even if Barracks were to break free from here, the only spot he could take is 3 o'clock. Which you already have mines there. I mean, the map really is, you know, at this point in time, like 80% under the control of Light. There's no way to do a counter drop. There's no way to get away with a whole lot. It's been a soft contain the whole time, by the way. There was never a line of turrets in a no man's land really created with static structures. It was really all about just having enough Wraiths and Valkyries and being ready to scan. So really fluid play from Light here.
And he's bent back as he's needed to. He hasn't, you know, sacrificed too much at the front lines, getting that additional base up now. And just the fact that he has like Wraith Valkyrie and he's started to put missile turrets up on the map. Eventually he'll put missile turrets on the right side as well. And if you just sprinkle missile turrets, it just like screws up dropship really, really hard. And the Wraiths and Valkyries of your opponents can't really fly around. And so you're just kind of closing off any way your opponent can win or come back.
It's a slow game here of, you know, the oxygen slowly leaving this part of the map for Barracks. I mean, because he got that third base, he has another place to drill and soak up resources from, but, you know, the pacing of, like, there it is, GG. I was going to say, the pacing of Light's not even, like, taking every base on the map. He's doing it at the exact right pace.
Yes,
to match his opponent and at the same time keep his growth up there. And he was pretty much with that fifth base about to hit that exponential spike where you're at the point of no return.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well said.
Anyways, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's exactly it. Like Light just, that's the thing. His mechanics are the best and his understanding's the best, and this is why he's so strong. Like he played that amazingly after being in a terrible position. A good idea from Barracks, but the two-port Wraith boys have both fallen today, Tasteless.
That's true. The Wraith boys have lost today. It's going to be up to the Floating Factory boys to win this one. Tastosis coming up here. Soulkey probably not going to lose to normal play. Great game, though. Again, we kind of expected that result, right? We thought Light was going to win, but what a great match we've got coming up. Guys, up next, Soulkey versus Light.
저희가 진행할 게임은 미니게임 정복이라고 오른쪽에 보시는 미니 모니터
미니 모니터. 아, 여기서 하는 거예요? 너무 작은데? 이게 마우스가 딜레이가 있구나. 마우스가 딜레이 있으면 이거 좀 어렵긴 한데. 이번에는 좀 뭔가 잘 안 나온 것 같은데, 판때기가. 73. 이거 생각보다 어려운데. 이거 90점 노리기 좀 어려울 것 같은데요, 이거? 여기 또 없는 것 같은데. 9일 있다. 9일 여기 있고, 보고. 근데 첫 트라이 치고 90점이면 괜찮은 것 같은데. 다른 선수분들은 민철이 형, 김민철. 제가 개인 방송을 봤는데 생각보다 사업 게임 하시는 것 같더라고요. 그래서 영웅이는 잘 못할 것 같아요.
한 번도 안 해봤어. 저희 오늘 게임 이름은 미니게임 정복이고요. 네. 제가 오른쪽에 보시는 미니 모니터로.
이거요?
네.
이걸로 하는 거예요?
진행할 거고요. 평소에 게임 좀 하시는 분인가요?
아니요, 저 평소에도 잘 못하는, 제가 그러니까 미니게임을 잘 못해요. 재능이 없어요, 미니게임이. 네, 이걸로 하면은 더 못할 것 같긴 하네요. 아니, 근데 안 보이는데요? 숫자가 안 보여요. 너무 못해 보이는데. 아니, 제가 그냥 해도 잘 못하는데 이걸로 하니까 더 못하긴 하네요, 제가. 제가 사실 근데 이거 아니어도 이 모니터에도 근데 68점 나오거든요. 본 게임으로 가나요? 네. 이 맵이 잘 떠야 되거든요, 이거. 이거 얼마 전까지만 해도 이거 많이 했었는데 최근에 안 했거든요. 그래도 아까보다 잘하고 있는 것 같은데? 이 판 느낌 좋아요. 될 것 같은데? 아까보다는 확실히 잘했거든요. 잠깐만요. 네, 아까보다 좀 더 잘했네요. 제가 근데 이제 스타크래프트 말고는 재능이 좀 없어요. 그래가지고
대훈님은 앞에 보신 안경 착용하신 다음에 진행하실 거고요.
굉장히 목을 많이 들어야 이제 앞이 보이는. 네.
저희가 이제 숫자가 50부터 역순으로 1까지 순서대로 눌러주시면 돼요. 50, 49, 40.
네네.
얼마나 빨리 누르느냐. 네, 정확도도 중요하고요.
제가 이런 게 약한데. 시작하면 돼요? 근데 마우스가 좀 불편해요. 감도가 좀 맞았으면 제가 더 잘했을 것 같은데. 이게 근데 프로게이머랑 상관이 있는 건가요? 이게 그냥 아무나 다 하는 것 같은데. 133밖에 안 되는데요?
지금 성적에 만족하시나요?
잘 모르겠어요. 이게 근데 지금 다 동일한 조건이면은 잘한 편일 것 같아요. 속도 이런 거 안 바꾸고 했으니까.
오늘 진행할 컨텐츠는
네.
미니 게임 정보이고요.
네.
표적을 누르는 게임을 진행할 건데요.
네.
누르려면 뭐가 필요하죠?
마우스. 아니 그 마우스인가요 이게?
미니
아, 네. 근데 제가 손으로 하는 거 자신 있긴 한데 제가 근데 뭐 게임 사실 스타나 뭐 그런 거 말고는 잘 못해가지고 플레이 누르면 되는 거죠? 오. 이게 막 눌러도 되나요? 진짜 못한 편인가요?
약간.
근데 이 마우스가 12개 한 건가요? 쉽지가 않은데. 도전! 침착하게. 제발 좀. 이렇게. 이게 근데 자꾸 미끌려가지고 이게. 왜 이렇게 빨리 끝나요, 근데 이거? 이게 삑사리가 나면. 이거 24개 했다고요?
조가 너무 뻔히 보이는데 잘 해보도록 하겠습니다.
제일 약한 선수로 지목이 되는데 그래도 이변에 한번 만들면 좋을 것 같아서 그래도 한번 1패를 안겨주고 싶습니다.
팬분들이 기대하는 게 있기 때문에 그 기대를 충분히 충족시켜드리고 싶어서 성장한다는 마인드로 이번에 목표를 4강으로 잡았거든요. 멋진 모습 보여드리겠습니다.
아무래도 이게 욕심이 계속 나더라고요. 그냥 욕심이 계속 나가지고 이번에도 우승하고 싶다는 욕심이 좀 강해서 우승 한번 도전해 보겠습니다.
Thank you for waiting, everybody. We're back. We're ready to go into what I think is going to be the best match of the night, maybe one of the best matches in all the round of 16.
I hope you're right, Tasteless, because what I think it's going to be is a one-sided bash. We're going to see Light, like, absolutely macro like a god and have so many units, and then Soulkey, I don't know if you knew this, but Dark Swarm doesn't allow you to do any damage under it without melee units, which Terran has 0 of. So, yeah, I think it's going to be
you mean
bad.
The Orange Cloud? Is
the
that
Orange
what that
Cloud,
does?
yeah. And then if that's not enough for you, they have a
the
Psy Storm
problem,
you
Artosis,
can't
is that-
dodge. Did you know you can't
you beat
dodge
me to
it? Oh.
If only you had Psystorm, you could stop them before they cast it. If only there was a way.
Yeah, and it feels like Defilers just regenerate their energy so quickly. I don't even understand how they get it that quick. It's almost as if they eat Zerglings for it.
That's right. And that Zergling protein immediately turns into mana, like instantly. It's crazy. All right, guys. Whoever wins this best of 3 is going to be the first player moving on into the round of 8. Let's do this. Okay, we've got Soulkey here in the top left, and we've got Light here in the top right. This is going to be an interesting one. You know, one of the things about Soulkey is that he probably makes mid-game look the easiest out of any ZVT player there is.
Yeah.
It makes it look like Terran really doesn't have any options. Like, everything that Terran did really ends up looking wrong. And so I'm always kind of fascinated by how he manages to do this. He's probably the best when it comes to mutiling engages as well. He knows how to pretty much engage and almost never lose a Zergling or a Mutalisk.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like it doesn't stop there. Like, he's the best at crushing an army. He's the best at moving his mutas. He's the best at stopping reinforcements. He's also the best at stopping 8-Raxes. He's also the best at late game. He's also the best at Crazy Zerg. He's also the best at Defilers. It's like, what? He's
a little
literally
bit like Superman.
Zerg Flash. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. We love you
All
back
right.
from Belgium. You know, it's a little bit like Soulkey's like Superman, where I'm like, this is a bad superhero. It's like he can fly and he's invincible, and they're like, he has X-ray vision, and it's like, all right, calm down. It's like, he has lasers for eyes, and I'm like, all right, you're 8 years old. Who came up with this character?
Yeah.
Couldn't we have given that to one other character? But Soulkey is kind of looking like that, and especially in this matchup.
So
he's always seemed to have an ability to, even in scrappy mid games, where a lot of times that's probably the hardest part for Zerg, is when they've taken a beating and now they're having to like fight with everything they've got, and they always feel like they're down on lurkers and they always feel like they're down on mutalisks. Usually that's the hardest. Even Soulkey will somehow hold his own on fights and then overwhelm the Terran in a big battle in the middle and then go in and kill their natural. It's pretty crazy.
It is. It is. And this game, Tasteless, he happened to do Overpool, which has actually gained some popularity recently. And he happened to scout Light first when Light happened to be doing Command Center first. So Soulkey knows where he is. He knows what the build order is. He's going to send 4 Lings. This is already terrible for Light. It is terrible.
Yeah. So Overpool, less economic, and it's called Overpool because you go Overlord and then Spawning Pool, but doesn't die to any kind of cheeses from Terran. And at the same time, it will just kill greed like this. I mean, this is... He might not be able to make more than 1 Marine this whole game.
Watch Light's face. He's going to deflate Tasteless.
All right, get ready. Here we go. Lights, get the pain cam on. Oh.
Yep. And
well,
this is part of why Soulkey is so strong, is because he mixes in these builds. Sometimes they won't work.
Yeah.
The thing is, Overpool is pretty middle of the road. Like, it's more economical than 9
Sure.
Pool, but slower. So, you know, it's like it will catch racks first, you know, any Marine Rush, and it will catch Command Center first, and just be kind of mediocre against everything else. But, like, look at that. Already a free win against Light in Game 1.
Well, look, we were talking about this earlier, that Soulkey will mix in aggression and builds that are just not that economical to ensure that he doesn't die to 2 racks and he doesn't die to the greediest builds like Command Center first. We just saw it there. Light was punished. Light decided, okay, I'm going to have to try to do something that just gives me an edge. It's a bit of a roll of the dice, and he got a bad roll there. So we're already going into Game 2 now. Literally the shortest game probably of the whole season just occurred there.
Yeah.
As Light did not even bother to try to fight that off. He knew it's basically impossible when you're against the likes of Soulkey. Anyways, guys, this best of 3 continues on. Hopefully Light can pull off a better opener. Otherwise, Soulkey's going to be immediately moving on into the round of 16. Or 8, excuse me.
What, he's sending his SCVs? What?
Wait.
What?
He's sending 1 back?
What? What am I looking at?
Is he just forfeiting?
Oh, they had the wrong vision.
Oh.
I was like, this
that was
is Nanoa versus
insane.
ST all over again, guys.
No, that's exactly what I thought. I thought, well, don't you just get kicked out of tournaments for doing this if you're going to throw the match?
Yeah, that was one of the observers.
So
what
that
you
was
do?
the observers.
Yeah, so they
well,
had a player spawn as Terran, so you lift your command center and float it, and you kill SCVs. I don't know why they would even have that, because there's like 4 observer slots or something, but that's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
There must be a bug on the map. That must be a production fix for a secondary observer. So I thought literally he just was sending 1 SCV to each starting location.
It doesn't work as Terran. It's not, you know, it just doesn't.
Now, that being said, we're still getting cheese.
I actually really like this play. I like this play a lot because Soulkey already went pool first, and I was going to say, but we were talking about other things, Soulkey should pool first again. Oops. All right, well, there you have it. So, okay, it's not that exactly. Okay, so Soulkey won't be able to scout. He won't know exactly where he is right away. And it's a single center 8 racks, which means he's going to go gas. So if Light can buy some time, he can get a factory up or possibly send Marines back to his main base. There's a chance he doesn't auto-die. But the odds of him getting damage with this should be 0.
Yeah. So I do think there is a little bit of a game going on here that, like, we don't see the full stats, right? These guys play each other all the time in online matches. I am under the impression Soulkey never loses to Light. And when you play against somebody in tournaments over and over again that you never lose to, you start to just open up the build order and change a couple dials around to just ensure that it'll never lose to their play. So this is why we're seeing overpull over and over again here from Soulkey. He's so confident against Light, he's willing to open up in a potential deficit just to punish any greed.
Yeah, or, you know, stop any cheese. Now, he's made 4 lings.
Same thing.
Yeah, he's made 4 lings, and Light is going up to a 4th Marine. He's going to have to cut some SCVs here. He started his factory. Notice he started way back, so it's harder to see. And he's going to catch these. See, this is like basically perfectly played by Light, because he went down, he scouted that. Soulkey wasn't sure where he was because the Overlord peeked in and didn't see anything. And so he waited. He caught the lings as they came out. And he's cutting SCVs to be able to do this. He's at 18 of 18 right now. This is a super tight build. Normally you get 3 Marines, but like he's doing anything he can to make this work.
We did see a Hydra Den thrown down. We're in a very, very different TVZ right now. The Lings are going to try to come in here and intercept. He gets a kill on 1. Every Ling, by the way, is huge right now. The Zerglings at the bottom, they do force the bunker to cancel. There is no sunken colony being made down here. There is a cavity behind the minerals. Yeah, he's going to run right back there. I'm sorry, am I insane? Is that the second Hydra Den he made?
I didn't see
Did he cancel
the first one when he said that, but maybe he canceled and then remade.
Well, I think he canceled and remade because I can't imagine that I would have imagined that.
Yeah, I think what probably happened was he thought it was 1 racks, and then maybe he thought it was 2 racks and canceled, and then he realized, oh, it is 1 racks. Because when it's 1 racks, it's always factory follow-up. Okay, so
now the Marines can't get to the other side of the bunker here. We should note that. Remember that a sunken colony starts out with less HP than a creep colony does. So if you can get this down to like maybe 100 HP left over, you can kill it. But it's not. Well, hold on a second. Oh, he gets into the vulture, gets in. This is crazy. Oh my God, this is an insane game. He could actually bring the vulture back over to the bunker too. He's got a safe space to basically put it at. The whole time the Marines are doing damage, a second vulture comes up. Remember, there could be Hydras hatching. Hydras are going to be a lot better at fighting vultures, but honestly, not ideal. The vultures can just avoid them too if they can get around them.
Yeah, non-upgraded Hydras can be beaten with good Vulture Micro. Like,
do they outrange him?
I think it's actually maybe the same range, but the way that the Vulture attacks, like, you can actually just fight them. It's kind of funny. Like, you can flick shot them really well, and they have a hard time shooting you. Now, the bunker, he engages the bunker. I think Light just wins. Look at that. That was...
Wow, dude.
Dude, that was really, really masterfully done. So, like, Light sent his scout from the main base, and it saw the Overlord. And so he, like, prepared. He left his Marine at the barracks to make a second Marine. He went down to the natural. He saw the hatchery timing and knew that it was an overpool. And so he just kept making Marines. He cut SCVs because you have to make your factory on time, and you don't have money for the depot right then. So he made Marines nonstop and caught them as they came out because the Overlord peeked into the main, and you saw where he built his factory where it was really far back. That was so the Overlord could not scout it because he needs Soulkey to not know where he is so that he runs into the Marines so that Light gets a free Ling kill and can push. It was... You couldn't have played it better from Light's point of view. It's impossible.
Yeah, really, really perfect execution. We're going to Death Valley.
Yeah, and
okay.
So this map is wretched for Terran. Wretched. It is like, dude. Okay, so it has those assimilators that go into the main part of the map, and you can kill those, and it blocks off that path. That top right, you can't by ground get to the bottom left. On the bottom left, you have to mine out some minerals, and then there's a ton of bases down there. But mobility is absolutely king here, and Zerg way out mobilities Terran. So this is like a very tricky map. And if Terran wins the top part of the map, you kill your assimilators, and they can't get into your main. And then you just play the bottom part of the map, you know? So
yeah,
I think it's a tough one. And what's really interesting to me about this, not only is this the first time we're going to be seeing this, but Light vetoed Eclipse instead of Death Valley, which shows you how much he respects Soulkey's skill, because Eclipse is the least attackable map against Zerg. There is no way to actually attack because everything's in the corner, so there's no way to get any dropships in. So someone like Soulkey will literally never die on Eclipse, so he's saying, you know what, screw it, let's play Death Valley. Which is an unbelievably hard map for Terran.
Yeah, now he doesn't have to play a conventional game. It could be the third cheesy game,
Yeah.
the third weird game in a row. We got to see. All right, well, we are about to get into this, guys. The final match between these two. Remember, the loser goes on into the final best of 5 of the evening. The winner is the first player advancing into that round of 8 spot. Okay, we've got Soulkey here in the bottom right. And of course, that gives us Light here in the top left. Real quick, guys, last plug of the day here. Consider signing up for the Patreon. Those 2 games we just had back there, one of them was insane. The other one was hilarious. You never know what you're going to get in a game of StarCraft, okay? You can have short, action-packed games, crazy... it's almost like a comedy. It's a tragedy and a comedy. Like I think of Motives game back there a while ago. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible what 2 great players in a game like StarCraft can create. And we want to keep casting this forever and ever. So sign up for the Patreon. Give us a support. We love you guys. We love this game.
There is no better game. We've dedicated our lives to it. And I have no plan to ever change that, honestly. Like, this is just the game I want to play and watch and cast forever. And you can see that it's just, like, infinitely deep. Like, we're seeing new stuff, old stuff rotated back in. The maps, like, the fact that you can make these absolutely insane maps like this, it's awesome, man. So I just want to throw this out there. This map, you can take you can basically start on 3 gas as Zerg, because you can glitch a drone over the mineral patches and take that bottom base, and you can take your natural. So what you do is you take your... Oh my god, are you serious? Overpool with gas. So he's expecting cheesy play from Light again, and he's... I mean, he might be right here. It looks like he's going to make a factory on this side of the map and try to glitch a Vulture up.
This is so funny. It's like right now it's the reverse of what you were saying. It's the Terran player glitching an SCV out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now Soulkey almost looking like it's a Zerg versus Zerg with the build order he's going for. I kind of expected some hidden factory on this map from Terran or something weird in that area, just because, maps that are deeply uncomfortable to play on for the matchup, you just sort of go into a weird, cheesy space and hope the Zerg doesn't directly preempt it. Now, this SCV is going to circle around, and I think it actually goes into the blind spot of the Overlord. No, hold on.
If that Overlord scouts that, Tasteless.
Yeah, if the wind blows too hard and that Overlord gets pushed into that area, does he see it?
No, just barely not.
Well, wait. Oh, my God.
Oh,
the SCV
man.
could have shuffled.
Dude, it's like we're right on the edge of Soulkey scouting that. It's crazy.
We're pixels away from being spotted.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, Light definitely, he has an idea for this. He's going to try to get some massive damage. He's not mining that much gas, so I think he's expanding behind this. But if he can get a Vulture up there, that can turn into like a game win pretty quickly. So not bad ideas from Light. By the way, this is the strongest macro Terran that we have, and he's cheesing 3 games in a row against Soulkey just to show the strength of Soulkey.
That's a real sign of this state of Soulkey's play. That you have, I mean, Light is in some ways the least cheesy Terran, I think, that we have. This is crazy to see him just playing like this 3 games in a row. Granted, I think a lot of this is just the map and for game 3, but I mean, game 1 and 2. Okay, he's going to come up. Oh! Oh my god.
This is giving Soulkey
stressful.
time to do a trap. Oh,
Oh my
no.
god, he can't get the glitch off.
And now with 4 lings
just
there, it
gives
won't
up.
work. Oh, man. Well, you know
This
what?
is-
At least that denies taking that base right away. Because that's one of the strong things
Yeah?
about this map, is Zerg can just instantly take 3 bases, and they're not all attackable. You know, that's... On
You know
other
what?
maps, like
it's,
if you...
It's probably... It's okay that he's there. It really is. It's not as good as if he had gotten into the base and killed off drones, but I think it's not the... This is not like, you know, my hair's on fire. Like, this is so bad. He's okay.
I agree with you. Like, I think that Light's opening has actually kind of worked out. Soulkey went pool first. It didn't really help. It was not the type of cheese that he was looking to stop. And he's like, just the fact that he's denying that back base for a bit is really nice. And look at this. Light's just saying, screw it. We're closing this. I'm not playing the top right. I like it. Like, this is a smart, good approach.
Yeah, I actually think that right now Light looks more viable in this situation than any other one we could have asked for.
Yeah.
I think it's Valkyrie tech.
You're probably right. I would imagine you're right on that.
I saw an armory. I believe there's an add-on.
right.
Yeah, so I assume... Now, we've had a lot of bad Valkyrie control in ASL. This, you know, Remastered has been out for a long time, and I actually think the Valkyrie is one of the harder units to move around.
It is. Yeah, it's tough.
Like, it really... You know, some units are much clunkier than others. And it turns out the Valkyrie, you know, with airborne units, it's... Airborne's not the right word. For units that fly, it's pretty rough. But we see a lot of Valkyries get sniped.
That's
I do
right.
think there's a real advantage for mutas fighting Valkyries. But when you get enough of them, they're okay.
Light has the best Valkyrie control out of everyone. Just so people know, like what you see
is that
here.
right?
Yeah, he loses less Valks than everyone. He actually invented the 2-port Valkyrie into mech switch build. Like a year and a half or 2 years ago, that was really popular for a bit. You remember that one season we had barely any Zergs? It's because Light came up with an insane 2-port Valkyrie build that everyone copied, and it was right before the qualifiers, and it really screwed everything up. So
funny.
Yeah, that was one of the most insane little meta shifts. And then the build went away, like it wasn't used anymore. But Light is the best at controlling Valks, so I think he won't be losing those. Like, Soulkey's going to have to think of another plan here.
It seems to me like the Valkyrie, it's hard to like shoot and then turn around and get away. It has this almost like stationary feature to it.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Like it has.
Yes.
Like it actually reminds me a little bit of how Arbiters move when you try to make them fire. If you miscontrol the Arbiter, it's like it has to not stop but take its foot off the gas pedal and wait for, you know, inertia to kick in or whatever, and it finally actually stops moving and slows down.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a great engage.
Yeah, Valkyries actually like freeze basically when they're shooting. That's why you have to do the slide micro where you make them slide backwards while they shoot, because they get locked into that position for so long and just won't take any other commands. It's not exactly like an animation cancel, but it's like, I don't know exactly what to call it, but there's a way that you hit like patrol at an angle away from what you want to attack, and they slide backwards while shooting. And if you can't do that consistently, you'll have a lot of them dying.
So he had a big lead here by taking the Mutalisk count down to 3, and I don't know if there's more Mutalisks being made. I didn't actually see, I know they clicked on the Mutalisk a second ago, but I didn't actually see if the armor upgrade or attack upgrade had been made yet. I mean, Light looks pretty okay. It's always a little bit uncomfortable when Zerg's on a third base, but that's sort of how the matchup works. This is a map where the center of the map is pretty complicated. There's a lot of, you know, high ground into low ground and different paths and areas to go through. I don't know if it's obvious to the Zerg where exactly the Terran would move. I do want to point out that we already today had one player go into dumping a lot of gas into flying units for Terran, and only later on lost to lurkers on hold position. Because whenever you make that much gas or make that many gas costing units and spend it on that, the key unit, which is the vessel, always comes out later. Now, I was talking about hold position lurkers, but as I was saying it, I saw a hive started. So maybe that is not what is going to go down here. This could be a rush into a greater spire. It could... Probably not a rush into Queens, but maybe a rush into like Dark Swarm and Adrenal Glands as well.
I think that's like I could see an Ultralisk play being okay here, but this is most likely going to be a Defiler play. And I got to say, Light, the way he has planned this makes so much sense. The fact that he killed one of those geysers, so now Lurkers and Ultras can't attack him from the other side, but he can move out with Bio. And he's gone into kind of like Marine Medic Siege Tank to go with these Valkyries. He had plenty of bunkers, so he couldn't be attacked. So he's actually got like this really reasonable force right now. He's forced Soulkey off of the mutas. He hasn't really taken damage from that. And he's going to get this into like a regular macro game, I think. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to push Soulkey down with these like 2 tanks in this bio. Because, you know, Soulkey's just good at stalling this type of thing out. But I got to tell you, it's like the best planning.
Perfect control from Light. Look at how good this push looks. This is insane. He's taking no damage. He's going to try to come in here. Again, no damage. Like, perfect spot-on control. Actually takes out one Valkyrie, which is, I think, probably, again, the best of bad things that could happen, right? Now, Adrenal Glands is being upgraded. We know Consume has to be being upgraded because that's the first upgrade you get the second that the Hive finishes. Light, I don't know. I'm seeing him push. He looks scary. I got to say, we've seen Soulkey win so many fights that look like this, but it's a narrow area. It's very hard to get a surround. Terran, as long as they don't overcommit, can always try to slide back a little bit. The Valkyries are now hitting the Overlords. We don't have anything to fight this other than one Hydralisk.
Dude, Light is controlling
And again,
so
it's all
well.
about this Dark Swarm.
Yeah. And
he looks god tier right now.
He'll definitely get the
He's
Dark
going to
Storm
kill
done.
the Overlords.
He's
He's going to supply block them.
Yeah, that is very nice.
So that means no more Lurkers. Remember, it does cost 1 extra supply to morph the Lurker, but Dark Swarm's done. And once Dark Swarm's done, you're in a completely new level of the game. It's a whole other chapter. The genie's out of the bottle. You can no longer rely on a push to win. If the Zerg is at all capable of using a Defiler, you now have to go into a very different game.
So one thing I want to mention here, ooh, that was a good catch. One thing I want to mention here is I just saw the machine shops spinning. So either he's getting siege mode now, just to utilize those 3 tanks better. There's a possibility he goes into mines. That would feel really weird right here, but maybe he feels like he's far enough ahead that Soulkey has to attack him. But that's just kind of like an interesting thing I just caught right there. And Light gonna expand again. So like this game, I mean, this is a very weird looking game. This is not like a normal Hive versus Terran position. We got here in a funny way. There's funny amounts of units. And yeah. Oh, he's floating Z-Bay. This is a mech switch.
This is going to be a fun map to have a mech switch on.
Yes.
I never thought we'd have a game that looked like this on this map.
This kind of makes sense when you think about it, Tastosis.
Yeah.
Like, Soulkey is so good at Defiler play, you're never going to break him with SK Terran, especially with such late vessels due to the Valkyrie opener. So going into mech, I think that this is... Light's plans here are really second to none.
One of the core things you have to focus on as Terran when you're in this game where you're switching to mech is you keep contains set up with your infantry, and you don't overextend with infantry ever. You play a very conservative game. You know, infantry can basically play keep away forever. Most Terran versus Zergs, when you watch them, they're trying to dive in, they're trying to push, they're trying to wait for the Lurkers and Sunken Colonies to die out so they can stim and run in and wipe the base out. Once you see a mech switch, you basically want to just kind of stay back. And as good as Marines are at like sustaining damage, if they have medics, I mean, and taking certain fights, playing keep away, they're maybe the best at in the whole game against Zerg. Zerg runs in, you stim, you run back, and you let them throw down a Dark Swarm. You don't care. And that's all... The whole reason why you want to do that at this phase of the game is so that you can get as much mech as possible. Oh my god, he lost all 3 vessels.
Yeah, so as you say that, he loses all of his bio and all of his vessels. Nice.
Yeah, well.
that's unfortunate, but you're definitely right. You need that to slow everything down so you have time to hit your mech switch. Nice play goes down onto those siege tanks. By the way, Soulkey expanding to the top is very smart. Since Light already killed one of those geysers, he can't get his mech to the other side of the map without dropships. None of the mech fits through there. So Soulkey can just take that base, and it's free.
So he's going to have a free 4th base. But there really isn't anything in that top right area, right?
Yeah, very little up there.
Yeah, there's not a lot to work with. And it's a 1 geyser base as well, we should note.
Well, he has a little bit of his bio left, so he unloads enough Marines that he should be able to deal some damage there for sure. Some vultures rotating around. And, oh, we just saw the queens popping. So this is why mech isn't used very often in the matchup, is because queens just dismantle it. They're just so cost efficient against tanks. You know, broodlinging tanks is not something you can stand up to long term as Terran. And the ways to deal with that are not many. We saw something that JYJ tried against Soulkey, where he went turret Goliath tank, no vultures, and that was kind of a cool idea. I've seen Speed try to go EMP against the queens. That was a cool idea. I've seen players sometimes try to utilize Valkyries, like a big group of Valkyries, to zone out the queens. I think that's a good idea. Right, there's ideas for how to try to counteract the strength of queens in this matchup, but nothing's really consistent. Other than that, it's like hit a timing attack, you know, before the queens have energy. But, like, none of that's really consistent.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, if Zergs didn't have this, they would not have a lot of recourse against Terran.
Yes.
With the queens. It's why this has never been the kind of mainstay, mainline opening that you see in this matchup. It's been this kind of funny, frustrating to play against, frankly, approach to the game that Terran has, where they kind of drag it out. And this is where we're really going to see it kick in, because Terran's taking all the other bases on the map. There's just 2 more here in the bottom. And then there's, you know, 1 for Terran that I think Terran's not going to get, which is the one right outside of his main. And we'll see if Zerg gets the one right outside of their main. But, you know, we're getting into a game where pretty much every location is being taken. And, you know, it's very hard to say who's going to win this. I think Tastosis has got a very good point that the queens, it's kind of hard to stop. And when you see mech play, the more tanks that die over time, the better it is for the Zerg in the long run. A lot of times you're just trying to, like, kill as many tanks as possible, and eventually they just don't have that much gas left for tanks, and you can kind of win in other ways. And the queens really let you do that. I think a solution a lot of times is to try to get your own science vessels and irradiate the queens, but the queens are able to almost always just entirely avoid the science vessels, and even kamikaze through irradiate and just shoot the broodling out then and leave. Sorry, how much does a queen cost? Is it 125, 125?
No, it's 150, 100, I believe.
150, 100. Okay.
Or it might, I feel like I've said that before, and people are like, no, it's 100, 100. But it's something like that. It's like, it costs around the same amount as a siege tank. And yeah, the thing is, irradiate doesn't kill anything quickly. So, like, you can't, you won't stop the broodling attack.
And you're actually kind of fine if you can trade out 1 queen for a tank. So even if you get irradiated, you're like, whatever, you shoot down the broodling, shoot out the broodling, and you're done, right?
Dude, he should just sit under the Dark Storm. Nothing here hits him. Just sit under the Dark Storm and target stuff.
So funny.
It works for the vultures as well. Yeah, there's a lot of queens already, 8 of them here. I think he got EMP.
Oh, that's the play. I forgot about that. That's right, you can EMP them.
Let's see if he actually can do this. The vessels are right near here, so let's see. Oh, no, he's just irradiating.
Oh, he does not have it.
And you'll notice that the irradiate does not stop all the tanks from dying at all. It's like, well, at least I got 3 of your queens.
Afterthought. Yeah, I think EMP is actually the answer. It's funny because, like, I deal with EMP every day. Like, it's so common to see as a Protoss player, but you can forget that it's available in this matchup. I know Nada made EMP very famous because he would do it to Defilers, but I think versus Queens, that's literally the answer.
Yeah, the problem with EMP against Zerg is just that the Defilers just eat some more Zerglings and then cast a spell anyways, so you just don't see it often. But I have seen Queen try it against this, and it hasn't been super successful, but, like, I think it's the most likely idea to end up working. Ooh.
Oh, I like the mines there. Very nice. So Zerg has taken the 5th base now, the one just outside of his natural. And Terran doesn't have that infantry. You know, we were talking about this earlier, and it was a while ago, but he doesn't have anything to really kind of hold this off. The mech count's not overwhelming. When Terran plays this withdrawn mech, you know, tank vulture turret style, you can't really push the Zerg. You're kind of just trying to hold off on your side of the map, and it's especially dangerous on games where you can get half the map, because a lot of times Zerg gets one half, then it gets drawn out, and Terran gets the other half, and Zerg will mine out, and Terran just kind of runs the clock. This is a very funnily shaped map, so I'm not exactly sure how this is going to math out here long term.
No, it's very hard to say. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, Light has taken so many bases down here, and he has good production, he has good upgrades going and everything. It just comes down to, can you stop the queens from gaining value every time? Because, like, if you just clear the tanks out of an area, the Hydras beat everything else. So it's kind of the only thing you really have to look for. And look at this. He's going to come down. He's cleared a lot of tanks in this area. He's going to be able to kill off these SCVs. Maybe the command center. Yeah, kind of microing down, and maybe he'll target that, maybe he won't. But the queens really are the big problem.
He could actually steal a command center.
Oh, yeah. No, that's actually...
a styling moment.
That's an underused move. Honestly, like, a lot of times command centers get really low, and you can steal it very fast. It's a pretty quick move.
100%.
And then he can use Infested Terran's Tasteless, and that would really be something, wouldn't it?
That would be the hypest thing. That would be the hypest thing ever. How much damage do they do? It's like 500 or something?
500. Isn't that crazy? They're like a little mini...
They get killed almost immediately. Yeah, but, I mean, if you could get that into, like, a worker line, I don't know. If we see Infested Terrans, have we ever cast a game with Infested Terrans? I don't know.
I'm sure that we must have seen it before with the amount of games we've casted. Like, I think their best use is to kill depot clumps.
Yeah. It's like a super scare.
Yeah, they hit the depots, and then 1 second later, the depots all burn down. But it's
But then
so
you'd
rare
have to be in
see
a game where they would basically, you have an Zerg's infested Terran, or the infested command center, and then you're blowing up another Terran's base. So that would have to be a 2v2.
Yeah, maybe. So Soulkey, it feels like he's making progress, and you can see that reflected in the supply. He has a lot more supply. But the supply numbers in this matchup for Zerg aren't quite, like, you can have a lot of Hydras, and if Terran has, like, 20 siege tanks, they will all die. Which is, again, why the queens are so important. So, like, even though it looks like Soulkey might be about to win this, if Light can kind of stabilize, if he can stop, you know, his siege tanks from dying, the Hydras will not end the game.
Okay, he's going to try to push in now. The tanks are going to have to shift back over here, go to the low ground. Another small Hydra attack coming up here to try to hit these turrets. You could get sandwiched between here. I don't know if you're actually safe sieging up. One Dark Swarm, and these Hydras and Lurkers are going to be completely fine. The Goliaths try to run in. If the Lurkers get underground, they cannot be damaged from the siege tanks or anything else.
And, you know, he takes it reasonably well, as far as you can with a fight like that. And look at this, a big drop, actually, on the other side of the map. I really like this idea to try to eliminate this base.
Ever seen big drops with mech on this? I don't think I have.
So,
I mean, you've definitely played more TVZs.
Actually, you know, another player in this group, Scan, a good friend of mine, actually told me about this a few years ago, where people were testing mass dropship with mech against Zerg as a way to run around and actually kill bases. But haven't really seen it in play. But I was aware that this idea existed.
Again, it's answered in the same fashion.
Yeah.
Just send the queens out, broodling, run back. They don't really care where the tanks came from. As long as they can find them and they're sieged up, you cannot stop them from being broodling.
Yeah, the value of
And
the queens is so insane.
Yeah, there it is, GG. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
That's why you don't see mech often, guys. Like, it's a problem. And no one has been able to deal with it yet. There are ideas, maybe eventually. In another 10 years, we're going to have it. Yeah, maybe.
I think you need to have EMP ready. You got to be scanning like it's a TVT, just looking for where the queens are going to come in
that's
from.
how it would
like
play,
the
too.
drop
Right.
ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just fly in and EMP that and run right back out.
No, I think...
there, I solved it.
No, it's well, I told you about Speed's idea of it, but yes, that could be, and I think you're right, that's how it would have to play out. You'd have to play like a really slow game and be really on top of that. But Soulkey, of course, advances in first place. Light had good plans, but not enough to take down the King of Zergs.
Protoss Terran. Guys, we're gonna go to the interview now. Let's see. No, we're not. I lied.
Yeah, well, we're gonna watch
Remember
those
this
first
part?
buildings.
So we were waiting for the vessels to come here and get the EMP. The irradiates came down, and you know I don't want to knock on Light because it's very easy for me to sound like a strategy forum snob and be like, well, I can't believe he didn't do this. But when there's this much intense stuff going on and the game's gotten this crazy, and I don't think this was ever his plan, was to go into mech exhaust play versus Zerg. Yeah, when you saw those irradiates go down, you know, oh, he's not ready.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be
He was
a
not
rough
ready for the
couple of
Queens.
minutes where Zerg's going to gain a lot of ground.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. If he was in a more turtled position, that would have been a lot harder for Soulkey to do. But, like, if they catch you moving forward, it's a rout. It is a rout at that point. You know what I think, Tastosis? You should be able to EMP Dark Swarm and make it, like, disappear.
Oh, I would love to have it.
I think
Just
that would make the
something
game
to
just...
make it stop.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? Oh, we got to
Interview.
go. There's an interview now.
You're watching Group A of the round of 16 of ASL 19, done in partnership with Hot 6. Let's talk to our first player advancing through to the round of 8 today. It's defending champion Soulkey. Congratulations. Thank you. A perfect first step on the path towards 4 championship runs in a row. You're the first player to advance to the round of 8 out of this group you built with your own hands. How are you feeling? I'm not satisfied with my performance today, but I'm happy to advance regardless. Not happy with your performance, you say? You said the same to me before this interview. This is rather out of the ordinary. In any case, you must have had a lot going through your mind in the winners match against Light. In the first set, you got a quick win with an overpull. In the second set, he went for a forward 8 racks, which you didn't have a bad build to counter. I felt you would have seen that loss as regrettable. I had a feeling Light would play something odd today, so I prepared to play safe. In that second set, I confused the build with BBS. I should have trusted in my initial judgment, but I didn't. That was a regrettable error in judgment. Going into that final set with a 1-1 score would have made you nervous, surely. The early game wasn't very good for you. Light went for a factory expand into Valkyries. You had to buy time. It was a situation you had to survive until Defilers. Just looking at how you survived, it looked extremely difficult. It wasn't easy. On Death Valley, that was a build recommended to me by Calm. As soon as it ended, I thought about it and realized I would have won even without it. But you know, with my macro, if I get to Defilers, I can win, I thought. Surviving until the Defilers were out, the macro that you showed afterwards, the words that came out were, wow, it's truly the Iron Wall, how precise. Sniping vessels with Scourge, perfection showed in various aspects of how you handled that game. I realize that 4 championship runs in a row isn't outside the realm of possibility. What do you think? Anytime we enter a tournament season, I improve my performance. I was careless for a while, but now my condition has improved. Please look forward to it. My form has improved, Soulkey says with confidence. From the other player's perspective, this must surely feel like they're in hot water. I trust a lot of colleagues helped you deliver this great performance today. First of all, thanks to Flash, Speed, and Sharp for helping me practice. I'm always thankful to Terra, who is cheering for me from home. Next time you go on a field trip, please take me with you. I want to go as well. An earnest request from Soulkey as he grabs the mic with both hands, just as all the fans are cheering for him with both hands too. Do you have any words for them? I'll have a good showing in the round of 8 as well, and I'll set my sights on the championship this season too. Looking forward to seeing you go from strength to strength. Once more, congratulations on advancing. Thank you. And there you have today's first player advancing through in Soulkey. Let's take a look at these special events we have prepared for you. First of all, we have an offline event for those watching live at the studio. Upload a photo or a video of yourself from the studio to social media and then post that as a comment under the event post. 10 people will receive power banks, and we also have one ASL uniform to give away. Please participate. We also have a winners prediction event on the Soup Esports website taking place all throughout this round of 16. 4 people will be receiving prizes there. We look forward to having you participate in that as well. We'll take a short break and come back with the losers and decider matches. See you in a few.
우주급 텐션, 최고의 토킹, 핫식스 토킹.
Welcome back, everybody. Terran.
Yeah.
That's right. It's all going to be TBT from here on out.
Truly the
Barracks
best
for
group.
Scan coming up.
Truly the best
Truly.
group here. Okay, so this is probably something a lot of people don't know. Barracks is kind of Scan's nemesis. You know, Scan's first ASL that he got into was several years ago, and there was a long dry period before he started making it in again. And it was something like, I'm not kidding, maybe 3 ASLs in a row. Barracks was the player who eliminated him in the qualifiers. So he's actually had a really hard time against Barracks historically there, but Scan has really leveled up. We're going to go to Polestar, then Eclipse, then Dominator. Barracks is in good shape, so I think it's a tough one for Scan, but I'm excited to see if he can do it.
ASL
Yeah, let's find out, guys. That TBT is going to be starting up right now. The loser is out of the ASL once his best of 3 is done. All right. So we've got Barracks here in the top left, Scan on the bottom right. Cross spawns here to start this TVT off.
I'm excited to just see what the opening builds are going to be for these two, because that can mean so much in Terran versus Terran. There's like a lot of little rock, paper, scissors that happen with openers in TVT. And it's, you know, sometimes you can get lucky or unlucky at the beginning, and more often than not, you know, it just comes down to who's playing well, but it absolutely can come down to like, oh, you went factory expand and he went cross spawn command center first. It's a similar feeling to cross spawn Nexus first, where you're like, well, damn, you're just really ahead of me. Like, you just have a lot more than I have. Oh, that's tough. So, you know, something like that could occur. I'm kind of just hoping that they both do a very similar opening build so we can really see how it'll play out, because Polestar is a great big macro map.
Good reactions there from the sign guy. Held it up high and went, wait, we're not on camera. I'm bringing it back. So on this map, it's got this cross shape in the center. The cross part of it is the high ground. We do have moments where that becomes extremely important. Extremely important in TVT. Being able to cut off mobility from your opponent from high ground into low ground is extremely helpful. We'll see if that plays a big factor here. In this game, Scan is going to go for a forward Barracks here on the low ground. Nothing really too aggressive, but he can get a Marine out and scout with his Barracks a little bit faster.
And they're both going for gas. So that is pretty mirrored builds. Scans is designed a little bit more to put pressure on if Barracks was going for like a command center first or a gasless expansion. That's not occurring, so he will have like a tiny advantage in being able to float it directly across the map just a little bit quicker. And you can actually see, that's funny. Barracks scouted the center for a proxy racks. Now,
yeah,
that, well, it's okay, because you see where Scan built that. A lot of times, you'll send the SCV to the center to build it on 11 as well, because it puts better pressure on, and Scan skipped that. He actually might just know that Barracks checks center for that. Because if you catch someone making a Barracks in the center with your SCV and you kill it before the Barracks finishes, it's a free win.
Like, it's one of the worst ways to lose ever. It's like, you know, each of the matchups, there's a couple very unique things that can happen if one player does something unusual and the other player happens to scout or do something else in a very unusual way. And that can be one where you get to assassinate the SCV in the middle of the map with no help, making, at the time, the most important building in the game.
So Scan is super optimized here. He's going for the quickest command center he can get with this build. He scouted with the Barracks SCV, so that's like kind of a late scout. And then also he took all his SCVs off gas for a bit. So he's going to get his command center down very nicely. And, you know, the thing is, Barracks is going to expand too. It'll be a similar time. But yeah, this is really, really even opening builds, which is exactly what I wanted to see.
Yeah, nobody with any kind of obvious lead here. Barracks is going to be able to get his SCV around again and dive back in for another scout. That's definitely an annoying moment here for Scan. So the SCV is going to come in. He's looking for, like, is there a starport or anything else? I guess seeing the command center down there, you already know he can't quite afford that yet. And now both players are going to be sending their Barracks across the map to do some more scouting. So this should be a pretty quiet game to start things off.
Yeah. Add-on for Barracks first, and that's definitely something you want to keep track of. I think Scan will go add-on now, most likely. Oh, he's making the third Vulture. So he probably here will go for 3 factory. It's been very trendy to make 4 Vultures before your add-on when you're going 3 factory Vulture right now. It's very, very robust. Like it takes away a lot of the weird, cheesy timings that people would do. Yeah, and there goes the add-on. So I guess he did it after, I believe, 3 Vultures this time. But, no, it's just both of them playing pretty standard, honestly. Like, nothing's blowing my mind where it's like, oh, this is a different build. Oh, well, one thing from Barracks, he's only got 2 factories, and he's getting an upgrade. I actually really prefer this in cross-spawn. Yeah, he's getting armory, so that's going to be mines likely, but it could be speed. If you're in cross-spawn, you can kind of get away with 2 factory against 3 factory for a little bit. If Scan spams vultures here, doesn't miss a beat and goes speed, there is a possibility he can get good damage. Oh.
Yeah, we're going to see. Mines are being planted now, which, funnily enough, ends up working out nicely here for Barracks. Vultures can moving shot just like Wraiths and Mutalisks. It's a very unique feature about this ground unit. So when you start to win a fight, just like a ZVZ, a lot of times ZVZ, it comes down to the Mutalisk engagement, because if they both decide to fight and somebody loses, they can't really escape. That is sort of true here, but nowhere near as profoundly true. Also, this isn't the linchpin unit of the whole matchup, obviously, but you want to be careful, because when you engage with vultures, if you start to lose, especially if they get speed, even if you're trying to move out, they can pretty much moving shot everything down.
Yes. You can get mega punished if you're out of position. Barracks did get supply block there for a little bit longer than you really want to see at the pro level, and he's going up into the 4 factories. So he'll probably go 4 factory vulture here to try to counteract the amount of vultures his opponents are making. Like, I love the build that Barracks is doing. This is basically what I do in every single TVT. It's a really robust, kind of safe way where you avoid just pure vulture spam, and you can also counter Wraith, and like, it's very, very flexible. But Scan knows very well how to play against this. He's actually adding at least 1 more factory right now, maybe 2. I can't really quite tell by the mini-map. So he'll have map control with his vultures, and what he'll need to do is try to get tanks across the map. If he can get any tanks across the map while his mines are still up, it becomes incredibly hard for Barracks.
Yeah, that vulture arms race is going to continue on. I love the mines on the high ground here. TVT with mines, it's funny. You want to really, like, chunk them out. You want to have a lot of them placed down here. Can Barracks actually take this?
Yeah, he has just
targeting.
slightly more.
You know, A move versus shift clicking is huge here. And he gets that, you know, that beautiful wraparound we saw earlier. And here's that punish I was talking about, where you can try to run. Like, you can run, but you can't really hide versus these vultures. So Barracks lashing back out. To what I was talking about a second ago, yeah, if you get enough of those mines on the high ground, especially with chance to miss, and the fact that Terran units don't actually attack that quickly, it can be pretty scary.
Yeah, that one moment...
Now those
sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was going to say that one moment where he actually took a good vulture fight was really important because of those high ground mines. The person who opened 3 factory vultures is more likely to have map control, and it's really hard to push up into those mines because of the missed shot. Even if you have scan, it's really slow to get up there and clear when your opponent has vultures fighting from high ground too. And that's actually one of the big weaknesses of this specific build that Barracks is doing. So the fact that he took a little good engage there and got a little vulture lead was really important for him in this game.
Barracks is beginning to come out here again, and this amount is just so overwhelming. You know, this is going to be one of these games where it might not be an overarching strategy that we got to talk about, but just better trades over time.
Yeah.
Like, Barracks seems to just barely have enough. Maybe not, actually. He backs off at the last second. We got to see how much he can have with reinforcements here. There's a 3rd base being made, by the way. So 6 o'clock, not 6 o'clock, I'm sorry, just adjacent to 6 o'clock, I guess you could say, is being taken again. But it does seem like Barracks is very much so intent on continuing to push out on the map. Scan's going to come back out here with what looks like maybe more vultures. The one Goliath, by the way, can be pretty handy for the extra damage dealing.
Yeah, especially if you start attacking them because they take such little damage against those vultures. So you want to kind of focus your opponent's volts. That's almost always the case. In vulture versus vulture, you just want to make sure your vultures are attacking vultures.
Yeah, so it's one of the rare moments you have a Goliath made that's not to shoot down an air unit.
Yep.
Pretty much every other time in the game, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, this thing can attack ground, but really it's about the air. The Goliaths here are just a little bit tankier, so you can kind of advance a little bit further here. Scan, though, so far, pretty good targeting. The Goliaths here in the back, not doing that much to help, but maybe enough to push Scan away a little bit further until he gets the rest of his vultures.
The big problem we're seeing from Scan is he hasn't started his third. Okay, he just started it, but Barracks is about to finish. Like, yeah, in fact, it just finished. I can see the comsat started. So right now, Barracks is probably going to take a little advantage, but this is a good engage. That was awesome. He mine dragged. He knew there was a mine there. He walked his Goliath over, pulled the mine in. It killed like 4 vultures of Scan. Really well done. Channeling his inner zealot.
Yeah, it can be, easy to forget when you're watching fights this big because vultures never set off mines, but Goliaths can. So that was a huge drag that he had there. Scan, playing a little bit from behind right now, is about halfway done getting his command center up here. What is that, a Barracks landed over at the other third base? Oh, not landed, but over there.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's his Barracks just floating around. Scan still has a little bit of map control overall, I'd say. Like, we see way more blue mines on the map. And, yeah, his third base is a little bit later, so that's very good for Barracks. But I really wonder which way they each want to bring this game. Because I saw a very quick science facility for Barracks. I think that's great. For Scan, he is adding some more factories, so I think he's gone up to 7 factory very, very quickly, which is what you want on 3 base. But are we going to see these players focus on getting a 4th or continue to battle for map control?
Scan comes down here, and he is, sorry, I should say A Scan comes down here from Barracks, and he takes out some of those mines. We're finally getting tanks incorporated here, especially on big and open maps like this. It's hard to get the tanks too soon. The vultures having speed and sheer numbers is very, very handy. He's coming through here and clearing out a little bit of the bottom, but Barracks is going to come down here and meet him and just chase him a little bit away. This high ground to low ground area that we mentioned earlier on in this game, this is where it starts to play a huge role. The vultures and tanks can't really attack up from low ground onto high ground because of the chance to miss.
Yeah. Like, it's really the high ground advantage. Like, the slower the units shoot and stuff like that it makes such a huge difference. And to try to fight low ground versus high ground, you have to have really overwhelming numbers in TVT. Like, you better have a lot of siege tanks in there that you siege up or something. Now, there is a drop coming up. Scan is already making a Wraith. He's already aware of this because, like, Barracks is just multitasking really quickly now. He's not focusing on being sneaky. He's just like, do all these things and outplay Scan in that way. And he is a little bit quicker player than Scan, generally. So I like the approach. He's moving through the center while this drop goes off. But Scan is bringing his army down to meet it.
Oh, man, Barracks has got his vultures over there killing those SCVs. A fight's going to come down over here, but it looks like Barracks might be able to win them. In fact, Scan's tanks are separated from, his own vultures. If Barracks were to pay attention, he could probably dive in there and do even more damage to that. But instead, he's going to pull back around here to the bottom.
Oh.
I love the fact that he picked up that one vulture and then dropped it back down when nobody was looking to
really
get a few more
smart.
SCV kills. Yeah.
That's what speed will do for you, and he's getting faster, man. Like, he's actually the fastest pro Terran in the world right now. In fact, the fastest pro in ASL, I believe. But like, he is blazing right now, just all over the place. Scan is getting into positions and blocking himself from dying here. But you can see he lost a lot of SCVs and a lot of vultures. He's way down in supply, but it's not the end of the world yet. TVT is a funny matchup where you can actually get pretty far behind and still make it really hard to kill you and kind of catch up. You know, like, when someone gets an advantage, what do you do with that advantage? When you get ahead, do you get further ahead? Do you try to go kill your opponent? Well, you can't really kill him in TVT most of the time. So you can oftentimes take your opponent being ahead of you and make it closer just by macroing up. Where it's like, okay, yeah, he is ahead, but anything can happen. We both have giant armies. You know, it's hard to attack. So I would still say Scan has a chance here, even though Barracks is clearly winning at the moment.
You want to be careful in TVT because there are moments you definitely cannot force things. I mean, if you try to just force something to happen, a lot of times that's how you lose.
Yes. There's really nothing, like I said, nothing more stressful for a Terran player than trying to break a tank line in a tournament. Because it's just like, it will go wrong a lot of the time. A big vulture counterattack to this third base. And yeah, Scan, like, he doesn't really have any units in front of it. His army is just like a little bit smaller right now, so he's been having a hard time blocking this. But he does have his 4th command center up and mining here as well. The thing is, Barracks also does. Barracks is taking a 5th base. Barracks holds more of the center, and he's just starting to close in on Scan a little bit.
Oh man, the Barracks, Barracks' tanks are coming up now, and they're going to have dominion over this high ground area, and this is really bad for Scan. It's very hard for Scan to get out and stretch his legs anywhere over here. Now, Scan is even on bases, by the way. Actually, I take that back. This base is about to have a new set of SCBs, but Scan was even on bases a while back there. But I think both of his command centers, the one close to 12 and the one directly at 9 o'clock, are pretty vulnerable. Scan's going to be pressured to try to take out this contain, which Barracks is now going right up to the edge of the high ground to try to maximize the advantage that he's got over there. And in the meanwhile, you could probably shoot vultures out in either direction to try to kill SCVs off at this other base.
You know, when you're behind and you've made a few wraiths, like this is not how you wanted to go down. Like he's relying on those wraiths to do quite a bit right now, and I think that they're going to be overtaxed, and obviously that eats into his like siege tank account. Another attack comes in. Okay, he has cloak for the wraiths, so maybe he can do something with those now. But like he needs to clear everything off of his back. Like all these tanks on the high ground, that is such a controlling position. You need to get him back closer to the center of the map so that you have room to maneuver his Scan.
More damage coming down from those siege moded tanks. His Scan's going to bleed off quite a bit. Barracks is nearly maxed out. I mean, these wraiths are being handy. He's slowly chewing away at this line of tanks that's been oppressing him the whole time. But as the Goliaths come up here, a couple of stray shots can pick off a few wraiths if he's not fast enough. Barracks has reached all the way into the bottom left side of the map, and we've got a huge set of drops coming out, presumably tanks, vultures, and Goliaths in there. That could be targeted to the main. It could be targeted to the base adjacent to it, this one right here. He might have actually scanned it. It almost seems like he's trying to come in here to intercept this.
He sees it, for sure. That must have flown over something, or maybe he did hit a scan. He has some wraiths here. Where's the rest of his wraiths, actually? Oh,
I don't
that's
know,
too
but I
bad.
think
If all of
this is
his
all gonna
wraiths
get
are
to
up there,
unload.
that would have been... Dude,
Maybe
he would
a bad
have crushed.
hotkey.
Yeah, maybe. That's too
Look
bad
at
he only
this
had
position.
two.
You can actually shell the base. That's insane. And now he's going to try to come through here and hit this other spot. Barracks, like, truly...
GG.
Like an expert at the art of war here, just kind of creating tension in one place so that it's loosened up somewhere else. Pretty strong from A to Z TVT there.
You know, I was told these stories when I lived with a pro team a long time ago about how they oftentimes they preferred to recruit for the speed of the player rather than the intelligence of the player, because you can't teach the speed, you can teach the intelligence. And I always thought that was kind of silly. I always liked StarCraft more as a strategy game than a real-time game. But watching Barracks grow right now, he's always been like kind of the fastest player. He's always at like 400 APM. And like, but the thing is, he's always kind of made stupid decisions. But then you watch a game like this, and you watch how he has stuff going on all the time, and Scan just can't quite keep up with him. Like, he's like, drop here, vulture run in here, attack here. And it's just like non-stop. Beautiful play from Barracks. He is really coming into his own.
We're going to go to Eclipse now for map number 2. Let's see if Scan can catch a break here. If not, he's going to get eliminated. And of course, Light is waiting for the winner between these two after a very, very memorable TVZ that we just saw there in that winner's match. All right, guys, to Eclipse we go. Back to a map from a couple years ago here in the ASL again. Okay, Barracks in the top right, Scan in the bottom left.
I want
back
to...
on a map.
Oh, go ahead,
sorry.
Tastosis.
Oh, online cast. No, I was always a little surprised this map came back this soon. I felt like we had it for so long. I'm a little bit surprised that this was the map that came back, you know? I thought we would have gone through either another older map or a new map.
You know, someone told me that the reason it came back was that fans just like this map and like to watch games on it. But the map has like a lot of problems. It has a lot of problems. Like you saw that Light rather played Death Valley than Eclipse against Soulkey because you can't kill Zerg here. Against Protoss, they just dictate the entire flow of this map. And honestly, Tasteless, it's screwed up in TVT also. This map,
right?
yeah, this map in Terran vs. Terran, once you hit about 140 supply, it's split, and that's it. And you have to go Battlecruiser. It's the quickest Battlecruiser map that we've ever had. And like Barracks' skill set, unless the game gets really messy, like we saw speed on this map, right? And the game was so messy, he had vultures everywhere the entire time. Okay, there you can utilize speed and multitasking to win. But if there's not like a really weird imbalanced position, like the map just splits itself really quickly. And it's a small, tight map. There's no real way to walk around with ground units. I've seen and played more Battlecruiser games on this map than any other 3 maps combined.
I mean, I love so many different parts of StarCraft, and I do appreciate a good Battlecruiser arms race, but I don't think it's good to have maps that kind of end up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It means that neither side could really find opportunities to punish each other.
Exactly.
I also find that this map, you know, in certain matchups like PVZ, it's so turtley for both sides.
Yeah.
I think it makes for some interesting games, but yeah, I don't know. I guess, you know, for future maps, I wouldn't mind if we were going to go back to a map that we knew, something like Neo Sylphid maybe.
Love Sylphid.
Something that just seemed like a solid map. Like I could have kept playing on Neo Sylphid now.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't even mind seeing that replace Fighting Spirit for a little bit.
Totally.
You know, I get why we had Fighting Spirit for a while too. Just to go on this tangent for a second, guys. I mean, I think when the game came back, you needed to have a map that was the most played map. But I think at this point in time, you need a couple Fighting Spirits. You know what I mean? You know, maybe don't get rid of Polypoid for a while. Don't get rid of Neo Sylphid. I don't know. Just keep, you know, maybe 4 of the maps on the map pool. Just these kind of core fundamental maps that people that can't play year-round or want to pick the game up. And there's a lot of new people picking up StarCraft 1, by the way.
Yeah.
I go to PC cafes all the time in my spare time. Sometimes I'm just waiting to meet up with a friend somewhere in the city, and they're going to be late, and I'll just find a PC cafe and go there for an hour. I always see young people playing StarCraft 1.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome.
You know, it's great to have a map pool where like things are crazy and changing, but I do feel like, and maybe it should be like just capped at like certain ranks or something. You should just have a couple of these core maps.
Well, it seems like Polypoid has become that, where like we just always have Polypoid in the map pool. Honestly, I think Radeon is a much better 4-player map than Polypoid, but that's fine. But yeah, Eclipse is pretty wild. But the thing is, the pros generally try to not let it get to these positions that turn into Battlecruiser games. I think that's something more common you'll see on the ladder, where it's like, yeah, we're kind of at a standstill. It's just best to turtle this up and go Battlecruiser and do that. Because if my opponent's attacking into me and I'm doing that, I'm going to win. You know?
Right.
But yeah, Scan is going Starport, and that's one of the surest ways to try to get the game into one of these more imbalanced positions, right? Like if they both go 2-factory or 3-factory Vulture, it's like, okay, well, probably you're not going to kill each other. But if there's a Wraith in there, it's like, okay, well, now you're kind of forcing anti-air. Maybe you follow up with a 5-factory. You know, there's... It makes more possibilities for how the game can get wild.
You know what's funny? I'm having this memory. The StarCraft 1 American player named Yosh. He was one of the best American Terrans. Well, hold on a second. Let's do this Vulture engage here first. Then I'll talk about this. Looks like this is going to be chased off. Not able to do too much damage. I remember talking to Yosh, and he was just... You know, my brother played Zerg, I played Protoss, and we would be at these big American tournaments for, like, you know, to decide who's going to be the U.S. champion. I was always interested in Terran players because I didn't know really how the race worked, right? I had so many strong opinions about Zerg and Protoss because of, you know, my brother and me. But I remember him telling me, because he had this incredible record in TVT, and I'm like, what's your secret? Like, what do you do? And he goes, oh, I just always wait for them to attack me first.
Yeah.
Or I'll wait for them to drop me first, and I just drop their drop. And I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, well, what if they don't attack you? And he's like, I don't know. It never really happens.
It's so true. It's so true. Like, you know, the the defender has the biggest advantage in TVT out of probably every
Yeah.
matchup. It's just like incredibly hard to attack into siege tanks. So a couple of wraiths over here, you know, just doing a little bit of harassment and, you know, giving really good intel here to Scan as well.
Looks like he had to cancel building there for a second. I think he thought he was going to have a bunch of vultures run by and had to throw down a depot for a second just to make sure that this wasn't something that would slip into his main base. Now with the depot wall, he can kind of have like a little wall in here with his tanks that vultures can't get through. He can kind of tuck them in there. Barracks still, for the time being, is sitting outside with mines planted, waiting for Scan to make his move.
And it looks like he wants to eliminate this barracks pretty quickly. You know, that can be a little bit annoying if you were thinking about adding more factories. But honestly, Barracks is going 2 factory tank, 1 factory Goliath, and you don't want a 4th factory with that. That uses up all your money on 2 base. So, looks pretty good. Kind of an interesting forward position he's taken. As long as Scan gets rid of these mines, he should be okay with not getting contained. The fact that Barracks is up here already trying to contain, definitely not something I expected. Like, maybe he's looking to take a battle as the mines are getting cleared. Maybe he's looking for his siege mode to finish and to just set up a contain. I mean, that's the quickest way to a victory, man, is just doing a containment. And there you have it. That's a strong move.
In a lot of the matchups on Eclipse, you get this contain while they're on 2 bases, and it's really hard to find a 3rd base. Because the bottom right bases on the map are too far away. Oh my god, he's going to just try to inch in. Oh! Snipes one. Can he do it again? This is so scary. So Scan, I don't think he's got siege mode yet. It looks like it's upgrading.
Yeah.
So he's basically using vultures and Goliaths.
He needed his wraiths down here, Tasteless. God.
Yeah.
Like, he's killing a ton of SCVs, but yeah, I guess he'll siege up. Oh, dude. Oh, that mine is going to hit. That mine is going to hit. Oh. Tasteless.
No.
Tasteless. Oh.
That's so funny because I couldn't tell if that mine was going to hit. I was about to be like, I mean, will this connect? And then you've played so many TVTs. You're like, it's going to hit. It's gotta hit.
As soon as he laid it, that's the funny thing because it takes forever to happen. But like, you see it lay and you're like, I'm fucked. Like, that is. There's nothing you can do. It doesn't unsiege quick enough. The SCVs can't get in front of it and kill it. Even the siege tank coming up can't kill it quick enough because it'll burrow and then unburrow and it won't be. It just, yeah. That was bad. And now Barracks is very close to winning this game. This is, like, Scan decided to stay there and clear SCVs. He did kill a lot of SCVs. But pushing out of a siege line like this is so difficult.
Yeah. Interestingly, Barracks kind of backs off for a second. Going to regroup here. No turrets set up here to kind of just ensure that the wraiths can't get close, kind of keeping it loose. But he's going to make 1 turret now behind this.
He heard you.
I mean,
oh, that's a good idea, Tasteless.
It could go on. The game could go on, or it could end very quickly if Barracks gets 1 or 2 more snipes on the tanks. We were just talking about how, you know, in TVT, one of the hardest things to do is try to break and contain. Let's see how Scan does this time around. One SCV sent up here into the front.
Barracks is doing this perfectly. Because when this is happening, you actually have to do things like sacrifice units forward when they're moving because you don't have vision. The Wraith player has better vision than you, so you'll just do things like send an SCV in to die because it will spot the tanks and your tanks will fire before they siege. And if he just continually does this, that's how you hold a spot like this. Okay, good move forward from Scan. That's a very good move forward. He nails his Scan there to get those hits. Ooh! Okay, he's starting to clear some.
I think we might be back in this, Tastosis.
Maybe, yeah.
This has been beautifully handled by Scan. There's 1 tank here. He can just roll through.
Yeah, he could literally just attack move through that now. And in fact, Barracks is going to run away. All right. All right. Whew. I was scared. I was like, oh, no, this is going to be over. But, yeah. And, you know, don't forget, the race did kill a lot of SCVs across the map. But Scan spent a lot of his own SCVs trying to break this correctly as well. So, you know, I think that this is actually like a good, pretty even position.
Well, Barracks never had a third command center behind this. He wasn't actually more ahead. I think he was leaning a little bit more into the direction of trying to just get the kill move off.
Yeah, for sure.
Now Scan's going to just circle around, and I don't know where this game's going to go. I mean, he could counterattack. There's no tanks back here for Barracks.
It looks like,
it seems like Barracks is oblivious to the tanks that have just gone around him.
This is a big moment for Scan. If he gets a good position, a good counter contain, Barracks doesn't have Wraiths to help break it. So that becomes a little bit tough. Now, he is going to counterattack in. I think that's probably the best move available to him. So he needs to hold this, and he needs to break through Scan at the same time. And he might be able to. Scan has very few units here.
Well, I don't see any tanks in the high ground yet. I think Scan's actually moving too slowly. In some ways, both of them are, to be honest.
He needs to get to the natural.
This is probably one of the harder things to do in TVT is to try to break your side while you're trying to stop them from breaking your side.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. He didn't move up enough. Like, he needed to be hitting the command center, basically.
Well,
because he's losing his own.
Going to get up here now. Yeah.
Well,
he needs to get these Goliaths is actually what needs to happen here.
Yeah. The Wraiths look like they should be able to help clean it up with the SCVs as well. And Scan has a decent contain across the map. But has he taken just too much damage here to his economy?
I think that's the big question. He's going to try to come out now. The command center should be landed back there for Scan, but these mines are going to connect. Tastosis, do these connect?
Yes, they connect, Tasteless. Sadly, yes, they do. And yeah, so Scan is going to lose his containment. Oh, man, there was a mine there that actually cleared his mines there, too. Brutal. Brutal. Scan does have a third command, so that's something, but Barracks has his third command as well. Oh, no! Oh. My heart is weak right now, Tasteless, as I watch everything fall apart.
This has been a slugfest of a TVT. Oh, God. Okay, he actually saves that one over there. These tanks are so squishy, though, right now.
Yeah, it looks like there's some mines underneath this command center, which is really annoying to deal with. He did have some mines up at Barracks' side, but not really blocking that command, unfortunately. Barracks starts to move in. Not a lot of units here for Scan. Does siege up a little bit more. He has the Wraiths, too. I think he still lives through this. He can get that mine.
Oh, this mine. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Four Wraiths is enough.
So close.
If that was 2 Wraiths, yeah, maybe that mine hits, but...
If that's 2 Wraiths, no way in hell, my friend.
Yeah.
So he finally gets that command center to land over there. This is almost 14 minutes long. It's been like so back and forth. Is he going to try to go around again? I don't think this works. Or is he just trying to raise his...
Yeah, he's just trying to zone out damage to his third base here, because he knows that there's like this other path that might be utilized. Couple Vultures get up here. He should be able to clear that reasonably well. Yeah, Barracks is coming in on all sides. This is such great maneuvering from Barracks. Like, coming in from these angles, he's just making it hard to defend. Picking off units here and there. Scan still has, like, comparable supply. 93 to 109 is not the end of the world. It's just the position of Barracks is quite a bit better right now.
Yeah, well, Barracks is just putting on so much pressure. He's done so much damage. Scan has barely been able to stay alive. And again, if he can just swat this away like it looks like he's doing now, then I think the game goes on. I mean, that's the big question. Can Barracks come in here and break this? It seems like now the answer is no. A little bit ago, it looked like it could have been a big maybe. No SCVs on gas. I guess he just sent him back there before we switched the screenshot. But Barracks has a slight supply lead. He may try to come in here for another bust. He's going to go up for double starport again. We already saw this once today.
When you're in a winning position like this and you're expanding ahead of your opponent and kind of like a little bit ahead on those units, that's such a great move to go for 2-port Wraith, because you're just like overtaxing what they can produce at the moment. Like, what are the odds of Scan adding a Goliath? It's like 0. He needs to get out as many tanks as he can. By the way, Barracks here catching these tanks, trying to move into kind of like maybe a defensive 4th base position, so he gets to kill those off really nicely.
Okay, he's going to come in again. If the ramp is too exposed, Vultures can run up there. There's about 5 tanks down here so far, maybe one even underneath this Barracks, I can't tell. and they're starting to get picked away. Can that tank on the bottom left hit the inside of the third base?
No, I think it just barely misses the command center. Oh, it looks like it hits that final
hits the
patch.
SCV. Look at that.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, it hits the command centers. Okay, wow.
I'm going to veto
I thought
this
he had
map
to get
today.
closer than that.
That's
I
actually wasn't aware that hits there.
Oh, my God. I had no idea.
Yeah. That's wild.
Oh, we got to watch out for that. We're both going to be losing to Terrence on this map. That's crazy. They almost should make the main bigger there.
Yeah. That is kind of insane to be able to hit that patch. But, you know, really great positioning here from Barracks. He's got a very strong contain in that area. Scan's still, like, running some units around and trying to find some damage. Oh, this is a huge moment for Scan. Oh, this is a huge moment. Dude, all these Wraiths he made are now going to be killed off. Look at that. 4 Wraiths from 2 starports killed. That is a big swing where suddenly it's like, yeah, I guess I go, what, Valkyrie dropship or something here? Great usage of the Wraiths from Scan.
Yeah, looking very, very strong. Scan also growing into the bottom right location. We've basically had no attention to the 2 bottom right bases this whole game, but now Scan is going down there to take that. Barracks is going to meet Scan here in the middle of the map. There's basically 2 middles of the map. There are these 2 rolling hills that we're looking at, and then there are the locations that were being pushed from Barracks earlier. I mean, the fact that these tanks can just keep shelling this location of the third is painful because so many SCVs are not able to mine from patches. Many of them have to repair, which means they're not even mining to begin with. And Barracks comes down here and finds this base. Scan, it's going to be tough. Scan has to try to break this position right now.
Yeah, he's trying. Yeah, he's actually foregoing siege for a lot of these tanks and just using their auto attacks. He actually clears it pretty darn well, but that additional base does get screwed up. By the way, I wanted to mention, Tastosis, there was just too much going on. You should sell real estate for a living. You call that middle area the rolling hills. For me, Eclipse is a hellscape, but you really put a nice spin on it.
Yeah, man, it's that's so funny. it is actually a really brutal place to fight on the map. GG. Scan dies out.
Yep. First player eliminated. Not a big surprise, right? He was kind of like the big underdog coming into the round of 16. I think he played well today, but you know, Barracks is really on the rise, and obviously Soulkey is Soulkey, so what can you do?
Brutal map, man. Talking about good real estate. Hopefully in future ASLs, that map is bought up by BlackRock and we never see it again. So that leaves us with just 2 players remaining. Barracks, you know, his stamina has always been good. I think he's going to be able to hang with Light coming up here. I do find Barracks to be one of the players that doesn't really matter if he's had to play 10 games in a row. He's usually in pretty good shape. He's kind of one of those grinding ladder Terrans, you know?
Yeah. I'm excited for this final Terran versus Terran match. We're going to be going into Barracks versus Light. I look at this as like old guard versus new guard. Is Barracks ready to take down Light? If he is, that's a huge statement.
우주급 텐션, 최고의 토킹, 핫식스 토킹.
I've been feeling hollow, like a seashell on the beach, waiting on these feelings. It's somewhere underneath, and I try and I try and I try, but my heart's in a knot so alive. Got no choice, I dive in, 'cause it's sun hit my skin, come back stronger than before. And I fight, and I fight, and I fight. One day I'll get it right. Got no choice, I'll dive in, 'cause it's sink or swim. Oh, so I keep treading water, pulls me further, treading water. Oh, treading water, won't go under, treading water. Oh, treading water, won't go under, treading water. I keep treading water. No, won't go under. Yeah, keep treading water. No, won't go under. I got nothing, I got nothing, I got nothing to do. I got nothing, I got nothing, I got nothing to do. I'll wait, I'll wait, I'll wait, I'll wait, yeah. For a text or a call or really anything at all. Maybe my phone's not working right now. No use to the R&R, was I always so uptight? Ooh, down tight. I should've didn't mind, 'cause I got everything I wanted. I've been so used to running, I used to kick it off my shoes. A little too much independence, get high at 10 a.m. and now I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. Oh, I got nothing to do. Yeah, I got nothing to do. Yeah. Maybe it's all a big mistake. All my friends think I'm busy, so then I'm blowing up my phone. No, I'm not used to time on my ends, and I don't know if I like it, get so restless on my own. Ooh, downtime, I shouldn't mind. A little too much independence, get high at 10 a.m. and now I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. Yeah, I got nothing to do. Yeah, I got nothing to do. Oh, I got nothing to do. Yeah. Cause I got everything I wanted. I've been so used to running, I used to kick it off my shoes. A little too much independence, get high at 10 a.m. and now I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. Yeah, I got nothing to do. Yeah, I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. I ain't got nothing to do. I got nothing, yeah. Yeah. I'm so fucking bored, y'all.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. This is it. We're about to wrap up Group A here. Right now, Soulkey has advanced. It's been a big battle between the three remaining Terrans, two of which are with us now. Barracks and Light. You know, I assume Light's going to advance here. I think he is probably the stronger player. But I'm really okay with it if Barracks moves on.
Yeah.
I like what you said. It's kind of a battle of the new and the old. Barracks has looked better and better every season.
He has. He truly has. He's just watching him get better at his decision making in game. you know, the sky's the limit with that. Like, you can just keep learning and learning and learning. And the smarter moves he makes, like his huge multitasking ability, the speed with which he's macroing units out, and he's bringing some smart builds too. Like, I really think he's probably the future of Terran. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he measures up against Light right now.
All right, Barracks in the top right, Light here in the bottom right. And, yeah, I mean, you know, we've seen mostly TBT here today. This game's going to be no different. I've been very impressed with Barracks overall. He's stuck out more to me than everybody else. You know, Light definitely had his moments here versus Scan, but Barracks looks very balanced in his play. You know, no obvious weaknesses. Seems to know how to get a lead early on and maintain it.
For sure. I'm really enjoying watching his play. Like, him and Speed are kind of the guys coming up right now. And honestly, like, there is a little bit of a changing of a guard. You know, Light has been one of the strongest since Remaster came out. And, you know, obviously we had Last, and he had to retire because of his wrist. We've had Flash in and out of the scene a little bit. Then we had Rush really kind of rise up and become super strong. Wow. He misplaced his first depot. That's minus 25 minerals. That sucks. That screws up the whole
had
build.
to do a double take there.
That
I can't even believe that happened.
Yeah. And you might wonder, why would he cancel? It actually would make the SCVs pop out really further away and take longer to get there. It would cost him more than 25 minerals over time. That was a huge mistake, though. That's like, dude, that should happen almost never. Like, people make mistakes and occasionally do that, but like, that's a very rare occurrence. So I think he's nervous.
Kind of stunning to see that happen. Pretty hard at this level to ever see a mistake like that. One we've seen occasionally is like someone, maybe StarCraft 2 as an example, is someone had their worker right-clicked on another worker, so it looks like they're mining, but they're not.
Yeah.
Or, you know, but being forced to cancel anything is just so bad. It's even worse than being a few seconds late on making the building.
And this is maybe worst case scenario because he's doing a factory opener against a command center first, and you need everything to be as tight as possible. And 25 minerals, like, you know, obviously he's going to boost as hard as he can and get that out as quickly as he can, but it's going to slow everything by a few seconds. And, you know, every second matters in this situation. Let's see exactly when he gets this started here.
It's even worse because he made that mistake at the very start.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, like, let's say 4 minutes into a game, it can slow you down later on. But when you misplace the first building, everything else is later because the 25 minerals that were lost kick in later.
I need to mention, because I was watching the clock, he's still got a 229 factory. So he literally did perfect boosting the entire time. Like, he screwed up that depot.
Let's talk about...
But he did perfectly on his mining to get it still at 229. That's insane. My mind is blown. I'm like, he must have delayed the second depot. He didn't even delay it. He didn't skip his marine. That's insanity that he still got that out that quick.
So for people that watch StarCraft, maybe even their whole lives, they might still not know about mineral boosting. I don't even think we really talk about it enough.
No.
We were obsessed with it when we had figured it out. Or I guess somebody else taught us. We didn't actually figure it out on our own. But not all patches are made equally. And we all know that the Pathian and Brood War is imperfect. But the game still comes out very, very balanced. Some patches mine quicker than others. But the ones that don't mine efficiently, occasionally you can actually reset the worker path by using the C command, which is to return minerals. You might have it bound as something else on your keyboard. A lot of people that play the game don't even know about that. If you have a worker with resources in its hands, you can hit C and it'll return the resource. So if you hit it at the right time as it's returning the resource, it'll re-straighten the path out, which means you can basically, if you were playing a perfect game, play it even perfecter.
Yeah.
And that's called mineral boosting. And you can only do it in the first, minute or two of the game because eventually there's enough stuff going on. You don't have time to go back and mineral boost. But occasionally in very passive games, you could be macroing and still on one patch mineral boosting, like, for a long time. It happens in PvP a lot where, you don't have that many things you got to do early, especially if it's a tight game. And that's basically what Barracks did there to kind of get himself where he needed to be.
Yeah, if you want to know a lot about mineral boosting, I actually made a video about it on my Artosis TV YouTube. It's called I Have a Problem, where I learned how to mineral boost really, really well. So if you want to check that out, please do. Now, we need to point out, this is 2-port Wraith, and he's hidden the 2 ports. One is in the top right corner of his base, one is in the bottom left. So he's trying to make sure that Barracks thinks it's 1-port Wraith. And that will work. There is... Like, it is really hard to look at this and say, there's something missing. You might be able to, because the machine shop is not spinning. Right? This is the only tell. I think only Flash would look at this and say something's missing. But yeah, there is. You're right. There is something missing here. Now, he's actually doing a Vulture drop, which is pretty damn trendy in this type of situation. And he has Vulture speed, so... There is a good chance he gets a lot of kills, but the Wraiths are going to be a big problem when they go across the map. He's going to have a starport he can't utilize. If he doesn't have an armory at home already, he's going to probably be screwed.
Yeah, the dropship's out. He's going to pick this up. It's going to go through the sight line of the starport with the add-on. And let's see how quickly he can react.
Oh, dude, he's already got
Barracks
2 tanks and 3 Marines in here, too. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. And there's a depot wall down here, which means he can kind of pin the Vultures in a way. The Vultures can't really play keep away. Dude, that was pretty perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And now he's going to go for this dropship. Oh, my God. And it was unable to unload. If it had anything in it, I don't know if it did.
I think it didn't, but, I mean, he could have maybe put another Vulture or 2 in it. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, he might have tried to go to the natural. That was so shut down. I mean, there were some SCV kills, sure. I don't know if the drop paid for itself, but now Light's going to be in this position with his own Wraiths to try to do a pretty serious amount of damage, and I don't know that Barracks is going to be that ready for it.
Well, he's
so
got
there's
his...
no eBay done. There's 2 Marines.
Yeah, he does have an armory that just finished, so he's making some Goliaths, and he is going into, detection both at the eBay as well as the Academy. And Light just gets up here and immediately focuses down on those Marines, just prioritizing the damage output. And instead of going after economy, he's forcing Goliaths and he's going after the siege tanks so that his counterattack here, or his attack, is going to be able to do more damage. Dude, Light is just another level. It is so insane.
This is like so perfect how he handles this. Look at how he even switches the shots on to the Goliath. Oh my God, there's like a 1 HP Goliath. Oh! But he gets the tanks in there. Now there's like a 1-shot tank. He sends another Wraith in here. The SCVs are pulled, but the Wraiths just come back and help out. Now the surround on the tanks is insane.
Certainly very, very well done. I haven't seen anyone quite pull off an attack that looked like this before, but it made so much sense from Light. Like the way that instead of going after workers like you normally do, he goes after specifically the units and tries to punish, knowing his opponent has to make Goliaths, which suck against siege tanks. That was so well done. Like, I'm getting chills right now watching this, Tasteless. Light is just unbelievable.
That was pretty incredible. And Barracks, knowing he's in a bad spot, hides his own command center, which I think is pretty smart. The only thing I would have been maybe would have been smarter is to hide it in the bottom left.
Yes, I think the bottom left third base, like 9 o'clock-ish.
Yeah,
that base,
that's such a good
you'd
spot.
never scout there. That's like such a worthless position. But just hiding a command center in general when you're really behind is a good move.
So Light's just going to continue to power up here. Barracks is going to be short a couple SCVs. He got pretty beat up by that attack. The only thing that Light could have done a little bit better was there were a couple moments where there were units that were pretty low on HP. He probably could have tried to target down. But, I mean, that was a pretty perfect play. I love when we see people that know how to get out in time, too. You know?
Yeah.
They don't overextend it. It doesn't become like a back and forth where one guy pushes in and he overextends and then the other guy gets too, ambitious and he does the same thing. Light basically got in there, killed off as much as he could, and escaped.
Look at Light's wraiths right now. Did he actually attack, move, shift click them around the map? Oh my God,
I think
Tasteless.
he did. Well, you know, on this map, you know, this is one of the maps. I've noticed this because, you know, lately I was laddering a bunch, and I've tried to just get better about games where I'm ahead, checking for hidden bases. Maps where you can shift click the edges with a flying unit are the worst for hidden bases because of this.
True. And he finds it immediately with 3 SCVs.
This is usually losing. Well, pretty much always losing. If you're the guy that was down and you hit the base and you're like, oh, especially versus wraiths because you can't pick this up and hide it, right? If you pick it up, it's going to get gunned down by missiles.
So true. And he's sending
the
some
wraiths are
vultures.
kind of the perfect unit versus an isolated command center because it really can't get away.
And with the vultures there, he's going to lay some mines so Goliaths can't come save it. So this command center is pretty much as good as dead. Barracks is in just the worst spot. Like, this is so bad, man. He really needed that economic boost to start to catch up. He just attacked his own tank there for a moment. So, like, you can tell, right? He's already canceled a depot. He just attacked his own tank. You know, things have been going wrong for him in a lot of ways, both through his own plays and through Light just being awesome.
Yeah, well, Light just being so thorough with everything. So Barracks is going to come up here and fight this. I think that there's no way that Light can actually finish this off if this is done correctly. There's just too many Goliaths, too many tanks. So this is going to stay alive, but that may prompt Light to just kind of attack somewhere else. I mean, that was a lot of tanks and a lot of Goliaths going up there, and Barracks may be spread too thin. Not that there's necessarily a better move here, by the way. It's pretty easy to be critical of, you know, a position like this from Barracks, but he has to kind of try to do everything at once and hope he can hang on for dear life.
Yeah, everything is pretty losing for him here. And he's making definitely very good moves. Against a lot of players, he probably would have been able to start to come back by now. But Light's instant counterattack when he sees that going on is obviously a great, great play. Barracks is still trying to get things done, though. He sent SCVs to the top left. He's built a 4th base. He's sending vultures for harassment. But Light's on top of this. Look at this. He's got zoning tanks up. He's got vultures to intercept. He drills his SCVs up to catch these as well. And he's just minimizing anything that Barracks tries to do.
So, I mean, the truth is there are now 4 command centers up for both sides. One side's definitely mining a little bit better, you know, on Light's side. But, you know, Barracks kind of done it. At least for now. We'll see if Light can push through the middle here. The problem is that the center of the map still goes to Light, so it's hard to for Barracks to traffic units from one side of the map or the other. So I think he's, you know, massing up what he can at the base we just saw there at 12 o'clock, and he's getting a decent number of SCVs. But Light can basically move freely on the map.
And if you don't have lanes in TVT that you can travel down with your ground army, that's how you lose really quickly, because your opponent macros up, they have all their units in one spot, and they can move their entire army to attack one position. You can't possibly defend against that. So we have Barracks trying to be sneaky here. He's adding his own wraiths. He's hoping to maybe come out with a group of wraiths that can't really be stopped. Maybe there's very few to no Goliaths, and he can do something with that, but it's not too likely. He's really scraping the bottom of the barrel here on what he can get done.
With those mines just stacked up over there at that other, you know, the natural 3rd base location for Barracks. It's looking ugly, man. Once again, Light going into Wraith Valkyrie here. Barracks is fighting out pretty nicely.
He is.
I mean, there's like a couple Goliaths here. I'm not clear if it's ever enough to hold this off, but when these Wraiths and Valkyries come back up here, he can drive that away pretty quickly. Not a lot of room to build on the map here. The further you are into the center, the more spots there are to make turrets. But when you're right up outside that area, most of the terrain is unbuildable. Not easy to tell, by the way. But yeah, there's not as many spots you can put turrets on.
Yeah, all those little white diamonds you see, you can put turrets on in all the little gray areas, like the dark gray, not the one with the pattern, but like next to those siege tanks. Now, Light comes up with his anti-air force and will push that back. I gotta tell you what, like, we've been praising Light a lot because he's played such a game, but don't forget, he started with a big advantage. And the fact that
Yeah, a
Barracks
massive
has
advantage.
made the game look this good after getting that far behind, I really want to see them use similar openers and see where that ends up. You know, because it's like, okay, well, yeah, Light is very likely going to win this from here. But he opened up with a command center first, blocked a vulture drop, and went 2-port Wraith and got a ton of units off that, and then found the hidden expansion. He did all these things that just got him so far ahead, and still here Barracks is, like, keeping his supply relatively close, defending, getting 4 bases. It's just, he's already losing by so much.
Some more mines being planted down here. He did manage to breach this spot. Barracks may have to evacuate. In fact, he's going to use his SCVs to try to fight over here. A lot of Wraiths coming down right now for Barracks. A scan! There it is. And you know what? The Valkyrie's still really well positioned to clear this. Oh my god. Oh my god. And you saw Barracks lurch forward in his chair, realizing like, oh my god, I've completely lost control of this now. You know, the top left base that we barely got a shot of since it was almost killed off by the Wraiths, it's flourishing. The problem is that now with 12 o'clock being gone and Light having a really good contain, he can basically isolate the top left, come in with some kind of a drop or a push, and probably clear it out.
For sure. And he's making it so hard. Notice how he's not trying to finish Barracks. He's finishing him by just applying pressure. It's just like, yep, here's more siege tanks. Oh, there's a turret there now,
Yeah.
LOL. Try to clear that. And eventually he will do things like hit top left. You know, he's up here now with the bottom left as well. He's doing, you actually pointed this out before, where like, he's not over-expanding. He's taking it nice and slow. That's like how you actually screw up here, is making too many command centers. But he just macros steadily, continues to contain, and Barracks has to GG.
Barracks put up a good fight, but Light just looked too clean, too solid. Very on top of, you know, his answers to the play. You know, that placement when the Vulture drop came in was so important. Having the bottom side versus the top side of the mineral patch at Light's main plugged up with a depot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let him shut that down. It's things that a lot of people, they might not pay attention to, but because he put the depot at the bottom, the Vultures ran down there thinking they had a way to run around and play keep away, and instead they went into a dead end and were then executed on the way back out. So the drop didn't do that much, and then the Wraith play was strong. Good back and forth either way, but Light coming out on top with a 1-0 lead.
We're going to go to Polestar for our second set. Already saw Barracks play here against Scan and put out an absolutely great TVT. And really looking forward again to just seeing what these openers are. I want an even opener and see what the game looks like between these two.
We're going to be going into that game in a second, guys. Barracks needs to win the next 2 games or he's out. Light, the other favorite, if he wins here, he'll be moving on. Soulkey already the first player in the round of 8. Light could be the second if Barracks can't come back and figure out a solution to Light's so extremely solid TVT play.
Yeah, very, very, very solid there. But yeah, Barracks is looking good still. Even in that loss, he looked really good.
Okay, Barracks in the top right and Light in the bottom right here. The same positions as before.
Man. By the way, just caught a glimpse there. I never really noticed this about Barracks, but he looks like he has really long fingers. I just wanted
does
to,
he?
Yeah, it looks that way to me. So that's kind of interesting.
But
like,
the
really good
fingernails
hands.
not as long as Minnie's, you
No,
say,
well,
huh?
no, I mean, whose are? You have to join
Yeah.
a circus to get nails that long.
Yeah.
But he actually also uses that old QSEN DT35 keyboard, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Classic.
Yep.
Was that the keyboard that when you'd go to a computer accessory store in Korea, you could say StarCraft keyboard? They
Yes.
just give you that?
That's right. At
Yeah,
one point in
I remember
time,
that.
guys, like 99% of all StarCraft 1 pros used the QSEN DT35 keyboard, which is a membrane keyboard. They used this mouse pad. It was like a Kespa mouse pad that was very thin and very small. And they used the Logitech optical mini mouse. Like, that was the complete setup for 99% of all pros. Everyone used the same stuff.
I remember the first or second week I got here getting my PC set up because I actually lost mine in the airport, like trying to fly in to Korea with it.
That's terrible.
They like lost it. It was like part of my luggage. I just never recovered my desktop. So I had to go, and I think I didn't bring a keyboard with me. I can't remember. For whatever reason, I had to get a new keyboard when I had arrived here. And when I was picking up all my stuff, I couldn't figure out which keyboard I wanted. I was going and touching each of the keys. And then the guy came and spoke Korean to me, and I didn't speak any Korean. And I just said, StarCraft? StarCraft? And he went, oh, yeah. And he like came in the back and brought out one of these.
Yep.
And it was that keyboard.
Completely synonymous with the game. A lot of players still use it. It's been out of print for a long time. I actually had a stack of them when they were going out of print. Just bought a bunch of them and then gave them to friends and stuff when they ran out. Yeah, because I've used so many keyboards over the years, but yeah, and those the Logitech optical mini mouse, like those went out of print, and like it was like gold to have those. I had people offering me big money for having extra of those, and then Zowie made one, the Zowie Miko, which was a ripoff, which was just as good. And then those became worth a ton of money. And now we have, like, we're way down. Now we have, like, these other ones that are ripoffs of the Zowie Miko, which are Chinese-made mouses that most of the pros use.
Yeah, there's something about the keyboard and the kind of feedback it gives you. And I've used, like, Blue Switch keyboards, for instance, to play StarCraft. And, like, they're not bad, but they're almost too loose, if that makes any sense. Like, sometimes you don't want too much resistance. Sometimes you don't want it to be too hard to press because you're pressing a lot of keys, but you can't just press all the keys at once, you know?
Sure.
So, stuff back then so important. And it's crazy to think that people were playing this game competitively back when you had to take the physical ball out of the mouse and clean it in between matches to get the dirt off it.
Yeah, I used to have to do that. Okay, so this is a 2-factory opener from Light. I believe it's just going to be Vultures only, maybe into Goliaths. But if you make an add-on against this, you generally end up dying. If you go non-stop Vulture production and you sit back, then normally you end up getting really ahead. So it's like a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors situation. You can also actually make a bunker and be in a good spot against this as well. So let's see how... Yeah, Barracks is a little bit too far forward on the map. He likely will get into trouble here because you do have to sit pretty defensively. Like, the second factory will kick in and he'll just have more Vultures and go. But look, he didn't make an add-on, Tastosis. That's really good for Barracks right now.
All right, he's coming down. The moving shot is real here. Can he actually take out... Oh, excuse me. He's actually able to flick down one of those Vultures and trade it out, and Barracks has to pull away because the red Vulture was in the front. He's going to come in here again. Oh, my God, and he can intercept the Vultures. He's trying to come back, gets an execute on that. SCV's pulled. If he can stay out of the mineral lines here and not get drilled, he might be okay. As I say that, though, the SCVs get some decent surface area. The Vultures inch in. The Marines are actually doing a great job soaking some of this damage. Can he get the kill? He does!
The control there by Barracks was really good for a while. Unfortunately, he didn't repair it all. Like, you want a combination of repairing and attacking with your SCVs. You just need to make your Vultures last a little bit longer. Now, Light is just going to send Vultures pretty much non-stop here. Barracks, I believe, has landed at the... no, okay, he's just floating, but he can at least watch for when there's a command center on the way. He brings SCVs down. This can't work, unfortunately, for Barracks. It looks like Light is going to clean up this game very quickly.
Yeah, Light, in this position, he can start to just gun down the Vultures before they can be repaired. 3 Vultures is a very scary number. He ends up accidentally splitting some of the damage over there. Oh, in some ways, Light's being so patient here. He knows that he can just get some free shots on the SCVs in the back, too. I think this game is probably over.
Yeah.
The Vultures are not going to slow down. The SCV count has been lowered so dramatically. I actually think it's possible for Light to just force his way up the ramp here, too. I saw one add-on being made at the factory. Another factory is being produced, but that means for the time being, it's one factory that's making stuff. So the Vultures will get up here. They'll kill off the SCVs, they'll kill off the Vultures, and once they get on top of the factories, it kind of doesn't matter. This game's over.
This game is super, super over. Light is making a command center during all of this as well. I tell you, Light had some great build order mix-ups today overall. Played one safe TVT, one greedy TVT, and one aggressive TVT. And cheesed Soulkey basically 3 times. Like, good planning from Light, and he will advance in second place. This group going in the most predictable way. Soulkey first, Light second, Barracks third.
By the way, I think Light has really evolved into a whole new player in this season. He's doing a lot more cheesy stuff, like you were saying, Tastosis. He was generally a very kind of rigid, impossibly strong Terran, and he's gone from that to being a very dynamic player. Unpredictable, sometimes predictably unpredictable, if that makes sense, like we saw versus Soulkey, but definitely on a new level, the way he's approaching this. Very cool to see.
If he mixes in cheeses throughout the tournament, I think he becomes a favorite of the tournament very quickly. Well, I always put him down as a favorite, but like that has been his problem. Tasteless is exactly what you said. That like he oftentimes is just playing a little bit too safe, a little bit too macro oriented. If he gets more like Soulkey, where he's willing to throw in like crazy cheeses and stuff, that's really good for him. It'll just make him that much stronger.
I agree. No, I think you never want to. I mean, part of the reason why Soulkey's so scary is that he will just kind of do inefficient, weird openings that punish everything, or he'll even do 7 pulls or 5 pulls, you know, and he's keeping everybody on their toes. And you know, Light kind of deviating away from like the, I guess the honorable Terran, right? That like I've got these, you know, very perfect macro builds that nobody can stop. The fact that he can do that now and do these crazy plays, including in TVT. Doing a Vulture Rush like this is great.
Yeah.
So I think he shows a lot more promise this season than I think any other season we've had before.
I'm excited about it. Like, maybe Light can come back and win if somebody else can kill Soulkey for him. It's like, we just need Soulkey to hit a Zerg somewhere in the tournament, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, possibly. I could see someone like Best or Rain do it. Anyways, quick interview here with Light.
And that does it for Group A of the round of 16 of ASL Season 19, brought to you in part by Hot 6. Let's talk to Light, today's second place finisher. Congratulations. Thank you. You escaped from the clutches of Group D by the skin of your teeth and joined Group A, and you land a good result through your own efforts today. You had to play a lot of matches, whether it's because it was TVT or because you had to focus so much. I can see the exhaustion painted on your face. How do you feel having made it into the round of 8? For starters, I'm happy advancing to the round of 8. It was really tough today, having to play so many games, also the wait time between the games. I thought I would drop dead, but I got a good result in the end, so I can go home in a good mood. Seeing how you played 3 games of TVT against Barracks today, it must have been physically difficult. And as you played those, it was apparent that your TVT is just masterful. Just like you countered Barracks with Wraiths in the first game, and in the decider match, countering his Vulture drop from the proxy star pool, your idea for TVT is to constrict the opponent and force him in. How did you prepare for TVT? TVT is very much about the fundamentals. I paid special attention to my condition and making sure I can move my fingers, my hands well. We played that first game with Barracks in the studio today, and I realized, oh, he prepared something. In that case, let me show you what I've got, I decided. That's how I chose my strategies, and they worked. And so you thought you need to close things out with surprise 2 factory vultures on that second map. Was that it? When did you think of that? It's not something I had prepared specifically. It was an on-the-spot decision I made here in the studio. Light, you scored a good result today. However, once again, you lost to Soulkey in the winners match. Do you now feel there's even more things you need to get payback for?
사실 뭐 민철이전은 오늘
Honestly, I did not prepare for Soulkey today at all.
민철이랑 할 때는
Against Soulkey, I just thought, let's try this or that. I emptied my mind, thought I can advance just beating Terrence. I'm satisfied with today's result. The feeling I'm getting is you're resolved to meet Soulkey further on in the tournament, and that's when you will prepare. I'm sure advancing like this out of Group A will carry personal significance too. This only raises expectations for your journey down the line. What do you think?
벌써 제가 우승 이후에
It's been 2-3 years since my championship run. I remember that I made it out of Group A in second place that time as well. This season I make it out of Group A in second place, and we have Eclipse in the map pool, a map that we had back when I won. I'm starting to imagine this myself. I'll have to see how far this comes to fruition. I have a good feeling this time, so I'll prepare well, and I'll try to get far. We're drawing some parallels as Light's lucky streak continues this season. I'm sure your family's support is a source of strength. Do you have any words of thanks for your family and your colleagues? Starting with the qualifiers, the round of 24 and the round of 16 now, my wife has come up with this jinx. She says, I always need to bring her along. I try to stop her. She says, I'm going with you, I'm going. We go back and forth. So now I'm paranoid too. But we made it here today nicely. The games went well, and I feel thankful. And to the fans? This season, I started off with a relaxed, non-committal mindset, and now it's getting serious. I made it into the round of 8. For all those people who cheered for me, I'll do my best and try to go far. This season is surely going to be another fruitful one, as you always give your best whenever you play. Can't wait to see you in the round of 8. Congratulations. Thank you. And there you have it, Light, our second player to advance through today.
What a great day of games, man. We had a lot of awesome TVTs. It was so cool to see how well Soulkey played. He's still looking very much the favorite of this tournament, despite us having so many good games in the round of 24. Cool to see Scan get this far. I think he had a lot of really great moments, and I don't know if we got to see exactly where he sizes up compared to everybody else, because Group A, frankly, is just so strong.
And it's, you know, it's got 2 potential winners in there, but the rest of these groups actually look even closer. Look at this group we're going to do tomorrow, Tastosis. Sharp, Speed, Jaedong, Best. You couldn't make a group I'd be more excited about. It's like my 2 favorite Terrans, the legendary Zerg Jaedong and Best, who's got like the probably still the second best Protoss first Terran on Earth next to Snow.
I mean, he's just so fun to watch. I don't know who gets out, actually. I think it's going to be tough for Jaedong, actually.
I think you're right about that, yeah.
Sharp is undeniably in great form, as is Speed. And then Best, you know, I mean, he is inconsistent. I think he looks amazing, but he looks almost better in a lot of these online matches than he does necessarily in these tournaments where the format is something that he has to master, as well as the individual games. But if Jaedong did well here, that would be so exciting. He's been putting maybe even too much pressure on himself to perform. Jaedong, you know, he has set the bar very high for himself, and he is also very hard on himself, which may be what's even been holding him back. I don't know. I don't like to psychoanalyze too much, but yeah, I mean, Group B is going to be a very, very special day of games, no doubt.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I could see every single matchup being pretty close and pretty competitive, so really hard to predict that one. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's all the time we have. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/ASL English to support our cause. Tastosis, any closing thoughts?
ASL is great. It was a great day of games. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.